Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Maybe if you say it meaner to me, then I'll be
I wasn't saying it mean.
Then I'll be able to quickly unmute myself. Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is Thursday night. It is time for Revolutionary Change. I'm Jen Perlman.
Peter Hager, and boy, we're just a mess tonight, aren't we?
No, I was just accidentally on mute. I would think you would like that. Like, don't you wish you could just have control and just be able to just,
I don't know why you feel that way or why you would think I wouldn't want to hear you talk, but I'm not one of those guys.
One of those guys. Okay.
Certainly about, I don't want to, it's better when you can't hear a woman talk. Yeah, whatever.
Hmm.
No, that's not how I feel.
Okay.
So I'm doing well. I hope everybody's doing well this evening. We are going to fly by the seat of our pants right now because I have not heard confirmation from our esteemed guest, who hopefully will still show up because he does have the email with all the information.
Yes, he does. But it's okay, because even if he doesn't, we have plenty to talk about.
We definitely do. When I've got like a sneeze, it's like trying to come out, but it's not ready.
I'm like, what are you doing over there? You're like squirming.
Well, it's like in my eyes, and it's like it's not ready.
It's not ready.
No. It's like when you say bless you before a person sneezes, you can actually reject the sneeze. Like I hate when somebody does that. It's like, you're ready? You ready? Bless you. Son of a bitch. It didn't work.
It ruins it.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Well, I think we've seen enough about what's been going on lately to recognize that when everybody is kind of up in arms about everything that Israel is doing and what they're not doing, it is safe to say that when you get to a point where they feel that they have to take over the media, they have to censor everything, that's usually a pretty good sign that they're losing control. There would be no other reason to act that way or conduct business that way unless they were doing such a thing. At least that's my observation.
Yeah, I mean, they're clearly getting more and more desperate, like they're more and more getting caged in. And it still seems that they have the upper hand in a sense that we're still watching a Holocaust happen, and that just continues to happen no matter what we seem to be doing. But they will cease to exist. Like, they are losing the overall narrative, and they know that they're losing the overall narrative in terms of the world's perception of them. And it very much is a global perception. I know that here in the United States, most people are in a very little information bubble silo. I like to think of it as, in the United States, we sort of live in the Truman Show. And the rest of the world is like watching us in our little Truman Show bubble. So the people here and people in the West tend to think that they're winning based on what's going on in their information silo. And we're not winning. We're not winning. And the reason we're not winning is we're doing it wrong. We're doing it wrong, completely wrong. So we're losing. And yeah. And I don't mean necessarily in the short term, but sooner than I would have thought.
When somebody says our channel should have way more viewers, welcome to the wonderful world of suppression. That is what happens on our channel. No matter how many different ways we try to shift it, we try. But hey, we know that we've got good people that watch our channel, really the best people. But that's all you can do. And that's what we're going to continue to do. So that said, we are going to have a segment at the end of the show tonight. So we're going to throw this out there to you guys. As you know, there is this Anti-Semite of the Year contest going on amongst Stop Anti-Semitism. Well, we have a better idea. We are going to prove once and for all who is the worst the real anti-Semite. And we're
going to have our own. We're going to have our own Revolutionary Change Anti-Semite of the Year, and you guys are all going to participate in choosing that person. So, yeah, that's what we want to do. And would you like me to define what we're talking about by an actual anti-Semites?
Sure.
Okay. So in our contest here, we are looking for people who over the past, let's say, year, because it's over the year, so over the past year, have been the most dangerous and the most harmful to Jews worldwide. Like what these people have done has been so detrimental to Jewish people that they deserve to be the anti-Semite of the year. Okay. And we're going to skip over the fact that Ashkenazis aren't real Semites. We're going to just play along as if hating on Jews and being, violent toward Jews and doing things that will hurt Jews. That's what we're going to say is anti-Semitism. So all sorts of good contenders, though. So you guys are going to nominate. Yes, we are going to be doing a poll. So here's how it's going to work. We're going to have you guys put in the chat throughout the night nominations of people. They have to be known. It has to be people that we know that you think their existence has harmed Jews worldwide. Okay. And then we're going to see what consensus we have. And then there will be a poll amongst those people. And by the end of the night, we will know who is the anti-Semite of the year.
So we're looking for, I believe, Colin, we can do 4. We could do a poll of up to 4 potential names that we could put A, B, C, D. I've been nominated, Netanyahu, Shmuley.
All right, Netanyahu, like keep them coming, guys. And we're going to just, in general, we'll see a consensus of who is we see most often. And people, don't spam the chat with it. It's not worth it. It's not worth getting yourself kicked out of here. So don't
this is that's a smart way to do it. So
yes,
if you've got like a few different ones that you want to throw, I think Stephen Miller's definitely good. Stephen Miller's a psychopath, like a real psychopath.
He's evil.
Here's an interesting one.
Hey.
Why are you putting my name on that list?
Yeah, I see Dershowitz, Bill Maher. Yeah, I think these are great, guys. We're going to have a poll.
Please confirm exactly how many people we can put in a poll if we were going to put a poll up?
Yeah, you're correct. It's 4.
Okay. So the
top 4.
Yeah, that we see. And no, we're not counting exactly because we just don't have that kind of time to spare to stare at the chat. But we'll get a general consensus from you guys and do yeah. So we will all have our own decision by the end of the night as to who should be the anti-Semite of the year.
Now, one thing that I think pretty much everybody I think can agree on is that, and we always thought it was a stereotype, but in reality, it was always truth being told in real time, and you just didn't realize it. They were doing it with a wink and a nod. But when they say that the Jews controlled Hollywood, what they mean is that the Zionist entity, the Zionist messaging, is controlled and essentially run through Hollywood. Oh, you want to try that for a change?
No, I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry.
That's okay. But one of the people, I mean, look, Noa Tishby, she's an attractive woman. I'm not going to say she's not. But what they've always looked to do is use people of predominantly Ashkenazi descent to basically sell the Israel, pro-Israel narrative, if you will. And so it turns out that, and this should not come as any surprise to anybody, that there has been multiple exposés pretty much thrown out there about a whole bunch of different people that have basically been on the Zionist payroll for a very long time. Not like it just started after October 7th, which I think is something that a lot of people would be under the illusion that that's when it began. I would definitely say, in the case of somebody like Michael Rappaport is another name for to throw in the hat, so to speak, for later this evening. Michael Rappaport would be the example of somebody who saw the dollar signs after October 7th and decided to run with it. Somebody like Noa Tishby, she's been at this for a very long time. So a shout out to Connor Eccles at the Responsible Statecraft. That's the name of the publication. And so, inside Israel's shadow campaign to win over American media, leaked emails show how Act for Israel, led by Noa Tishby, worked on behalf of Israel to advance its interests in the United States. Colin, if you will. Back in March of 2011, the Israeli consulate in New York City had a problem. A group of soldiers from the IOF, as Jen likes to say, were coming to the U.S. on a PR trip and Israeli officials needed help persuading influential media outlets to interview the delegation. This is 2011, mind you. Luckily for the consulate, a new organization called Act for Israel, led by Israeli-American Noa Tishby, there is no such thing as Israeli, was prepared to swing into action. In mid-March 2011, the New York consulate requested our assistance. Tishby's organization wrote in a document revealed in a recent trove of leaked emails. Act for Israel quickly arranged 7 interviews with the top ranks of U.S. blogs and radio shows, highlighting that their efforts help promote Israel's narrative in Red State, which is described as the most read blog by U.S. senators and Congress representatives, if you happen to be in the GOP, of course. The previously unreported campaign appears to have violated the Foreign Agents Registration Act, or FARA. Well, what a surprise, which mandates that American citizens and organizations publicly disclose any work that seeks to influence American politics on behalf of a foreign power. That sounds like a slam dunk case of activities that should have required FARA registration, said Ben Freeman, a FARA expert at the Quincy Institute, which publishes RS. The leak provides a rare window into how some pro-Israel activists have skirted rules aimed at providing transparency about foreign influence over American politics, a practice that has helped obscure the scale of Israeli propaganda efforts in the U.S. in public. Act for Israel appeared to be no more than a group of pro-Israel Americans advocating for a strong U.S.-Israel relationship. But the leaked emails and documents show that representatives of the organization sought to shape U.S. public opinion while boasting privately of their intimate collaboration with the Israeli government. Jen, would you like to read the next paragraph, please?
Where are we here? Why is it? Okay, it's faded because, okay, there we go. A bio of Tishby contained in the leak, for example, describes her as working closely with Israel's government, Israel's embassy, and consulates to advocate for Israel. The documents come from a leak of the emails of Gabi Ashkenazi,
What a name.
a former IOO chief of staff who joined Act for Israel. You have no idea how far away I'm sitting from the actual screen. Act for Israel, which is, what is that called? Okay. As a board member starting in mid-2011, RS was unable to independently verify the authenticity of the emails, which were leaked by a pro-Iran hacking group called Handala. But many of the details found in the documents comport with publicly available information about Act for Israel. Neither Tishby nor Ashkenazi responded to requests for comment. Shocking.
Just the idea that the woman's name is Ashkenazi.
So this goes back to, this is going back to 2011 is what they're talking about.
Which is amazing.
In this, well, I was going to say it probably actually goes back further than that.
Sure.
But that's the thing. People are now starting to see it, and obviously they've increased their tentacles as far as other content creators because they've had to. But this Hasbara, this nonsense and propaganda coming out of Ziohel, that's been happening since the beginning of Ziohel. This isn't new. None of this is new. So the fact that this goes back to 2011 is great, but really this goes back to before 48.
FARA experts have long suspected that there was more work being done on behalf of the Israeli government that public disclosures revealed. According to Freeman, there was an underlying assumption that Israel didn't have to play by the rules, of course. With this, we're getting a sense that our suspicions were right. A strong partnership with Israel's foreign ministry. So 2011 was a stressful year for conservative commentator Josh Trevino. A few years after founding the influential political blog Red State, Trevino had launched another platform called Malaysia Matters, and rumors had started to circulate that saying that Trevino was running this blog on behalf of Malaysian officials. Trevino strenuously denied any secret work from Malaysia at the time. I'm confident I am within the law. 2 years later, though, he changed his tune and agreed to retroactively register as a foreign agent for Malaysia, all while claiming to have been unaware of FARA. Of course, always play dumb. In retrospect, it turns out that this wasn't Trevino's only work that may have violated FARA. The leaked emails suggest that he was also doing PR on behalf of Act for Israel, and by extension, the Israeli government. Various documents show that Trevino worked with Act for Israel as an advisor and media director starting in late 2010. This work appeared to include efforts to place pro-Israel content in popular American blogs, including Red State. It's not clear whether the organization paid Trevino for this work, though even unpaid activities are covered by FARA, according to Freeman. The statute of limitations for FARA violations is 5 years, meaning that neither Trevino nor anyone else in this story faces legal risk for any activities carried out on behalf of Act for Israel. What they're essentially saying is we need to register Israel as a foreign, or anyone who works on behalf of Israel as a foreign agent, or register the state of Israel under FARA. That is how, I mean, again, it's not the only thing that's going to stop them, but it's one component that will play a major role in that respect. Trevino also appears to have helped put together at least one media junket to Israel with the organization. Even as he denied acting as a foreign agent on behalf of Malaysia, Trevino revealed that he has also offered people paid trips to Israel. This seems to be a reference to the Act for Israel Media Fellowship, a fully funded excursion that the organization described in previously undisclosed documents as part of a strong partnership with Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Jen, if you would like to continue.
International press trips are not uncommon, but this one stood out because it required participants to produce a minimum of 6 articles on national publications as a result of the fellowship, according to a leaked document. Act for Israel claimed that this led to the publication of 48 articles in a dozen distinguished media outlets. Now, I am curious what they consider to be a distinguished media outlet, and I do see how they have that in quotes. Unable to find these articles, but did find several blog posts. Participants in the 2011 junket included several notable media figures, such as blogger and anti-former Senate candidate Chuck DeVore, essayist Claire Berlinski, Tim Mack, who went on to work for the Washington Examiner, NPR, and the Daily Beast, Seth Mandel, is that what's it? Yeah, Seth Mandel, now a senior editor at Commentary Magazine, and Molly Hemingway, now the editor-in-chief of The Federalist. During the trip, a right-wing Israeli newspaper interviewed DeVore and Berlinski, who criticized international coverage of the conflict and urged foreign reporters to better portray Israeli narratives. Okay, so this was back in 2011, and I'm trying to really think about exactly what was happening in 2011, what was going on in the background of this. And I'm not trying to imagine like what that was.
I mean, in May 1st, 2011 is when they assassinated bin Laden. I mean, I can't really think of any.
Yeah, but we were not watching this like we are now. So whatever was going on in, whatever torturous, oppressive crap was going on in the West Bank and Gaza, is not. I'm not sure where we were. I don't remember. But anyhow,
participants in the 2011 junket.
I did that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's what I'm saying. I read that part.
Colin. An itinerary obtained by RS shows, and again, this is the publication, that the delegation participated in a series of high-level meetings, including conversations with Deputy Foreign Minister Danny Ayalon and Mark Regev, then the head of communications in the Prime Minister's office. The group also received a briefing on the Iranian threat from the Israeli Foreign Ministry and joined an IDF spokesperson for a tour of Israel's border with Lebanon. RS could not confirm whether the participants were aware of the writing requirement, but if they knew about the condition compiled, we were of the Israeli government's relationship to the junket, then they should have also registered as foreign agents. At the time of the trip, Trevino was paying Mandel I wonder if that's the same Mandel that was writing shit articles about you when you ran against Wasserman Schultz. Probably. Berklinski and Davory to write articles about Malaysia as part of Trevino's efforts on behalf of the Malaysian officials. All three deny any knowledge that the money came from the Malaysian government. Of course, that's what law firms are for. Trevino appears to have ended his partnership with Act for Israel in late 2011. He now works on domestic policy at the Texas Public Policy Foundation and on Latin American security issues for the America First Policy Institute. I tell you, they can create a nonprofit out of thin air anytime they want. They really
and
can.
the names of them are always the exact opposite
Of what they're actually
like
doing.
The Center for American Progress. They are not about
anything but progress.
Right. It's the exact opposite.
America First Policy Institute, America Last is really what it means.
Yeah, it's Israel first.
Trevino, neither Trevino nor the journalists who participated in the junket responded to requests for comment. Of course not. So here's where it gets interesting. Colin. Meanwhile, Tishby, Act for Israel's founder, and Sharon Levinson, totally not Jewish, the group's co-founder, continued working hard to raise money from pro-Israel groups in the U.S. to help fund their activities. In their pitch, the pair told prospective donors that Act for Israel will continue to work in partnership with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to develop a network of pro-Israel thought influencers who can reach the masses digitally. An early precursor to a similar pro-Israel influence campaign that RS revealed in September. The group was particularly determined to turn Americans against a series of civilian flotillas that were attempting to break the Israeli blockade in Gaza, of course. These efforts elicited a high-level endorsement from the Israeli government. In a 2011 letter to Tishby revealed in the leak, then Israeli President Shimon Peres called Act for Israel a solution to a new form of delegitimization of Israel. You provide a quick and active appeal to youth around the world. By doing so, you are a great help to the public relations efforts which are led by the State of Israel. I'd say that's a conflict of interest.
So how long is this art? Like, this is like a very in-depth thing that we're getting into here. Yes. And I'm kind of glazing over. So like, I feel like I'm just curious. Well, I'm just like kind of wanting to know the big picture here, because what this sounds like to me is a story just further expanding the group of people that we know to be Hasbara propagandists.
I think that Colin, can you see how long this how much longer the article is? Okay, we're almost done. Okay, so what I do think is very important to note here is that what this is essentially saying is that if you remember right after October 7th happened, Noa Tishby was getting, I think you would agree, Jen, Noa Tishby was getting a lot of media coverage, like a lot. Like she was considered one of the foremost experts, if you will, on Israel-America relations. And it's pretty obvious why that's the case, because
wasn't she one of the like rape rumor?
Yes, absolutely. She pushed that rape hoax from day one.
Right. And has she yet to retract that at all?
Absolutely not.
So, this is like, she's not a serious person. And honestly, up until like then, and I would have never even remembered her. Like, I only know these people because of you.
Thanks. Yeah, you blame me. It's my fault.
Well, no, I'm just saying it's like she's not significant to me. Like, I wouldn't have even known who that was.
Oh, I agree. She isn't. She's kind of a loser. Act for Israel appears to have folded the intervening years, but several of its affiliates have continued working to shape Americans' view of Israel. Tishby, in particular, has become an influential voice advocating for the return of Israeli hostages while railing against so-called pro-Palestinian movements in the U.S. Her pop history of Israel remains one of the most popular books about the conflict on Amazon.
The conflict.
We all know Bezos would definitely pump up the shit out of this woman's interests. She is the voice of this Jewish generation. Yov Davis, a frequent collaborator of Tishby's, told the New York Times in 2023. I keep telling her that God has been grooming her for this moment. I'm sorry. So in 2022, Tishby registered as a foreign agent for the first time during a 2-year-long stint as Israel's special envoy for combating anti-Semitism and the delegitimization of Israel. But the leaked emails revealed that the scope of timeline in her work on behalf of Israeli interests were far beyond the disclosures shared in that registration.
I'm
And
sure.
there is no reason to believe that some of these activities are ongoing. One possible clue is the fact
And
that,
there is reason to believe.
yes, one possible clue is the fact that Davis, her collaborator and a former IDF spokesperson, recently registered as a foreign agent for Israel. In a pair of Faris filings, Davis said that the Israeli government is paying him $161,000 to do PR about hostage and humanitarian awareness. Though his comms shop, Davis Media NY in a month and a half since the disclosure was filed, Tishby and Davis have collaborated on several hostage-related videos that Tishby has pushed out to her 927,000 followers on Instagram.
How much you want to bet that a whole bunch of those are not real people?
Or it's farmed. These are farmed people.
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. That's not like the people like her, even people like Hillary Clinton, proportionately, their followers, their supporters is so exaggerated. It is such a fiction. You could fit them all probably in my studio.
RS could not establish any direct link between the contract and these videos, which reflect Tishby's long-held views. Davis did not respond to a request for comment. There is also indication that Davis has done more work for Israel than his recent FARA filing suggests. As early as 2020, Davis listed the Israeli consulate in New York City as a client of his PR firm, which produces and directs short-form video content. According to Freeman, any PR work done on behalf of the consulate would almost certainly require registration under FARA. And finally, the folks who are doing this work should take a hard look at whether they should be registered under FARA. If they don't register, this might be a case where the DOJ wants to take a look.
Doubtful.
Why would the DOJ take a look at anything that would go against Israel?
Oh, the Department of Justice. Yes, that's what they are.
That's
all about justice.
That's an oxymoron. There is no justice.
Oh, it's silly.
When you have these fools running around playing commando every day, trying to start World War III. And honestly, we discussed it the other day, and I'll make that point now, even though we're not going to jump into it this minute, but the Venezuelan people are not going to let their country be invaded without a fight. Are you crazy?
This is going to be, again, they seem to be utilizing their same logistics and strategy, essentially, that they used in Panama. But Venezuela is a lot bigger than Panama, has a very different geography, and its people are all armed. And there's a lot more of them than there people in Panama. Like, it's not going to end well. It's not going to end well. And there's no winning for us. There's no win.
I would agree that there is no win. And I would also say that when it comes to what all of these organizations are trying to do is they are trying to maintain their fiefdom, their control, and it's not working. That is why when the rich and powerful start to spiral out of control, there is nothing that they can do to prevent the inevitable, which means that we are heading for a circumstance where they just will not be able to withstand the disintegration of the relationship. But we have pointed out several times recently that there are several of these events that have been popping up all over the place. And that's not to say that they aren't events that weren't inevitably going to come about, but we have said time and again that AIPAC, it's one of many. And
it's the thing about AIPAC that, not that they're not concerning, because they're concerning, but think of it this way. They're the one we know about. So there's groups, organizations, money coming from sources that are in the Zio lobby that we don't even know who they are. And that's what they're doing. And that's what should concern us more than the ones we do know about.
Yeah. And I think that in itself is probably also a great concern for a lot of people that have benefited, again, significantly from this relationship. That, to me, I think is probably the most important aspect. And I've always said that the biggest reason why anybody tolerates Israel is because of the financial implications that come with them. It isn't because people all of a sudden feel, I love Israel. This is an amazing country and they do such wonderful work. No, there is substantial financial interest tied to this, which is why I always say that the biggest reason why or this hatred towards Jewish people is because it's being stoked relentlessly by these individuals. Now, there was this big gathering that was organized by Miriam Adelson, not a surprise. And lots of dignitaries, if you will, showed up to express their support. And one of those people, of course, happened to be Hillary Clinton. And what I often like to point out is that when these individuals get together, and the event in question was basically hosted by, it's called Israel Hayom, Hayom. So Israel Hayom had a whole bunch of people get together the last few days in New York City. And a lot of them had some very sharp opinions, not just about the state of Israel in general, but about the people who don't support it. And what are we going to do about those people? So
I'm more concerned with what we're going to do about the fact that Hillary Clinton won't go away. I mean, this is absolutely absurd with her. Like, when you keep losing and what? I don't understand this. Who is listening to her?
The people
who is
in that
listening to her?
The rich and powerful. Oh, ooh. Here's what the queen who never got her crown has to say.
Students, smart, well-educated young people from our own country, from around the world, where were they getting their information? They were getting their information from social media, particularly TikTok. That is where they were learning about what happened on October 7th, what happened in the days, weeks, and months to follow. That's a serious problem. It's a serious problem for democracy, whether it's Israel or the United States, and it's a serious problem for our young people.
I have so many problems with this. I don't even know. I don't even know where to start. The problem isn't what people were learning after October 7th. The problem, you dumb bitch, is that we never taught our people about anything prior to October 7th. You see, that's the problem. And that education system is why we have people turning to things like TikTok, because there's no other avenues for them to get the information. I told you this was going to just get me on a friggin' roll. I just cannot with this bitch.
Well, she's also somebody who always advocates for censorship. Remember, this is also a person who got caught on a hot mic once saying about Julian Assange, and I quote, "Can't we just drone bomb this guy?" That's how flippant a person she is. But remember, she was caught on hot camera too, once saying, "We came, we saw, he died." So
I can't with her. I was not necessarily needing to get into the rage meter this early in the game, but let's continue.
And it was frankly shocking to me how little the students we were encountering, not only in this class we teach, which is a very large class, international relations, about crisis decision making, but students more generally. And that's why I mentioned the social media piece of it, because when you would try to talk to them to engage in some kind of reasonable discussion, it was very difficult because they did not know history. They had very little context. And what they were being told on social media was not just one-sided, it was pure propaganda. And so when you think about how to tell Israel's story, and it's important, it's not just looking internally, it's looking externally, and particularly looking at young people, because, it's not just the usual suspects. It is a lot of young Jewish Americans who don't know the history and don't.
Why don't we know the history, Hillary? Why?
We have
Why?
to teach
Could
them.
it be because our education system has been lies and propaganda all the way through? Could it be that we were dumbed down to not know? I love that somebody who was in a position of power for very many years, whether it was as first lady or as a senator or a secretary of state, I love it when those people who had power for so long complain about a situation that they caused, because what we're seeing now isn't happening based on right now. It's this the result of what's been going on since her. It's just the lack of self-awareness is exceptional with this one.
Intentional as well.
Don't understand. Eric, I was talking to Condi Rice, and she said in an interview that I did after the 20-point plan came out, she and I were on CBS, and she said, when people were chanting from the river to the sea, she would ask the students what river, what sea. They didn't know.
And why is
that? Same
that?
Experience.
I say they did know. And this, by the way, what she's referring to, that same interview with Condi Rice, that's the one where Condi was so generously sharing pearls of wisdom with Palestinian parents who live in Palestine as to how to raise their children to be properly submissive to their oppressor. That's the same thing she's referring to, is when Condi Rice was saying the problem is Palestinian parents need to properly educate and teach their children to accept Israel as it is and as a state. Like, really?
Yes, really.
The level of caucasity is massive with this bitch.
It doesn't get much higher than her. It really doesn't.
A lot of the challenge is with younger people. More than 50% of young people in America get their news from social media. So just pause on that for a second. They are seeing short form videos, some of them totally made up, some of them not at all representing what they claim to be showing. And that's where they get their information.
Yeah, because that's where there's better information than the PragerU shit you guys are peddling down everyone's throats.
Just the audacity of her to say, and
all right, make it go away. Make it go away.
They're made up, right? Yeah. What's made up about the fact that there is at least 500,000 dead Palestinians in the desert? At minimum.
Oh, I actually think we're more like 700 at this point, but
probably.
Yeah.
The disparaging of soldiers, and I mean, it's everything. It's everything. Hillary Clinton is one of those people who truly sees herself as not only above reproach, but somebody who is better than everybody else. That's how
she's a psychotic narcissist.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is a psychopathic person. This is not a normal person.
I didn't vote. Yeah, I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton and I didn't vote for Donald Trump, but you better believe, and I'll still say this to this day, if I had to choose between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, I'm still taking Donald Trump. Same. That's how fucking psychopathic this person is. Everything that you think Trump has done that's bad, this woman would have made him look like a fucking choir boy. We would
already have had boots on the ground in Iran.
Oh, absolutely.
If
Hillary would have passed the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Yeah, it would be worse. It would be worse, but maybe with a very different facade. The liberals would be more comfortable, though.
Yeah, at least they could go to brunch. Right. I mean, cities would be on fire, but at least the nice, comfortable, quiet suburbs and the chic urban cities would be in good shape. It's the entitlement. Again, it's understandable why we have revolutions. It's just it's incredible how tone deaf, absent-minded these people end up becoming. And how they truly think. There are people who truly believe that Hillary Clinton is a victim. They think she's a victim.
Of what? Of what? We're a victim. We're all victims of her.
We are.
I feel victimized just having to have watched that.
No, we're lucky that she never got the brass ring. That's all I can say.
And by the way, and for me, that also goes for Kamala, who I just see as Hillary's puppet. So if you're talking about Kamala, or it's the same difference as talking about Hillary in terms of that is not anyone that we ever need in charge of anything, ever.
But believe it or not, this event, if you think that Hillary's commentary is bad, this gets even worse. There were even worse people there saying the most outlandish of things, which again does not surprise me in the least. And I don't know if you guys know who Michael Eisenberg is. He is an American-Israeli businessman and a venture capitalist. He is from, I think he's typical, splits his time between Tel Aviv and New York City. Here's what he had to say at this wonderful event.
To even say shalom in New York anymore. That's what Miriam said this morning. So just to pick up on that, what I'll tell everybody is skip Miami. If you're leaving New York, just come straight to Israel. There's no reason to make a stop in Florida before you need to come.
You also
Agreed.
said that Zionism
Agreed.
is economic growth. When we talk about the possibility of 1 million Jews moving to Israel, what is the economic logic behind such a vision, and why is now the right moment?
So first of all, immigration in general always adds to economic growth, except when you bring in, let's call it less qualified immigration.
Huh?
Oh, wow.
What? Wait. So immigration always leads to growth unless you bring in less qualified immigration?
We all know what that's code for, but it's just the fact that, you see, this is also the thing about Israel that I would think makes everybody sick. We always say they're the most bigoted people walking the earth, but the only type of bigotry that matters is when it's a conservative, quote unquote, like a Trumper doing it to a brown person. You are never, and I mean ever, going to see the type of coverage that a statement like this man made. This is a really rich and
Can we need to go back a little and hear that part again, I think.
So for those who are not understanding what true bigotry sounds like, this is it.
And why is now the right moment?
So first of all, immigration in general always adds to economic growth, except when you bring in, let's call it less qualified immigration.
Less qualified immigration. Okay.
That is here's the thing.
Wait, but is he talking about immigrants to Ziohel or immigrants to the United States?
I think it's one and the same, because in the end, he's talking about wanting to bring in, I think, like 1 million. I think the number is like 1 million Jews into Israel. Like that's the.
Please take them from Florida.
Please. Mr. Eisenberg, you would be doing so many. You take all the Zio Jews out of here, please.
That would be a mitzvah.
That
would be a mitzvah.
And you are certainly rich enough to make it come true. So, but I don't know what's holding you back, man. We'll give you a push. If you need a push, we'll lend a hand. Trust me.
But all immigration to Israel at this point has been contributive to the economy. There's just a study about the billions of dollars that Olim, particularly from North America and Western Europe, have brought to Israel.
Those are the good immigrants. Those are the good immigrants. The ones from North America and Western Europe. Those are the good immigrants.
Not only that, but the way he flippantly talks about billions of dollars going to Israel. No, you mean our money that is going to you. And it's part of the reason why you're so rich. This system is working, as you said, as it was intended. And because of that, scumbags like this guy are very rich.
Look at the button. See his little lapel pin? You like it?
No, let me tell you, when I was at a real estate event and I saw this jack off wearing one of those things, I was like, all right, that's the end of that conversation.
And I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but they're large. But the Israeli economy is going to go through a transformation now. It's not only going to be high-tech led. We're going to build a finance sector in Israel. That's the first thing that's going to happen. There's new tax laws and regulatory relaxation that's going to happen. And you're going to see, beginning already in Q1, hedge funds get set up in Israel so we can become another capital of finance. I'll argue we will beat London within a short decade as a second capital of finance.
Yeah.
We hope
okay.
so.
Good luck with that.
It's going to be New York as a gateway to America, Hong Kong a gateway to China, Dubai a gateway to Southeast Asia, and Israel as a gateway to other parts of the world. But I'll add something else. I think the other thing going on right now is IMEC. And we have here in the audience, Daria, raise your hand. Daria Pishavar, her father and I, Shervin, wrote an article together about how there will be peace between Israel and Iran. As President Trump said, they will join the Abraham Accords. And Noor Pahlavi is here. Her Excellency, thank you for joining us. And I think we'll see, by the way, even more regional integration with the 70 million people of Iran and all the other Gulf nations. And as IMEC runs through Israel, the opportunities are literally going to be limitless. And so we will, over the next decade, build this trillion-dollar economy. And you can decide, you can stay here in New York in a declining empire, or you can come to Israel, which is part of the rising middle of the world, which is moving south and east.
Oh my God, the level of delusion with this man, as if Israel could exist if the United States wasn't what we are.
I want you all to
serious delusion.
I want you to listen. This is a person, keep in mind, who is a billionaire because of us. Because of us. And he is talking about American, a city like New York City collapsing, gleefully talking about it in New York City. He's in New York City talking like this. And he's saying, hey, leave this city behind. Come to Tel Aviv. That's where you want to go. Let's play it one more time.
Tiny empire, or you can come to Israel. And so we will, over the next decade, build this trillion-dollar economy. And you can decide, you can stay here in New York in a declining empire, or you can come to Israel, which is part of the rising middle of the world, which is moving south and east. That's what I encourage you to do.
Okay. So many things wrong with this. Okay. First of all, Israel is going to cease to exist. Israel's going to cease to exist. That South and East and Asia and that rising world of which this man speaks wants nothing to do with Ziohel. Ziohel is not invited. In fact, we're not invited. And the one thing that he's really off on is that when our empire crumbles, Israel ceases to exist. Period. It's done.
What you wish for.
The rest of the world is not dealing with Israel. I don't know what growing empire. Israel's economy is in the toilet. These people are paid to just come out with the Hasbro and the lies and the propaganda. Israel's economy is in the toilet. Nobody wants to move there. Nobody wants to move there. There is no financial sector. No other country wants to deal with them. That's why they're failing. And
hence why he's talking like that. He's saying, leave this failing city, come to our city. That's where you want to be.
Oh my God.
Oh, God. You want to talk about this is why I emphasize, and this is why I talk about Fuentes as often as I do. These are the Jews who are the scum of the earth. These are the ruling class people who happen to be Jewish, who have no loyalty to this country whatsoever. They don't give a flying fuck if it burns down into hell. It doesn't matter to them. When you're at that level, who cares? They have their ideology. They know what they care about. Yeah, Dubai, again.
By the way, Dubai is just another place like Israel.
Exactly.
That's just a millionaire fantasy camp.
You want to talk about child and you want to talk about just like trafficking in general?
Dubai, well, they have no rules there for the rich people.
The number one place for trafficking in the world is Dubai. So, hey, well, and
I would say Israel probably comes in pretty close too, because there seems to be a pretty big pedo ring that involves their people. So
now I know it's hard to believe. And as much as Michael Eisenberg was bad, this is the worst one of them all. This is Elon Carr, another Israeli billionaire. And you will not believe what he has to say about those who dissent against the state of Israel.
2 National Guard members were shot today, November 27th.
That's not the one, Colin. You pulled it way too fast on me.
Don't yell at Colin.
2 years ago, just go back 2 years ago, Israel was on its knees and its existence was in doubt, and the threats it faced seemed insurmountable. If I had predicted to you then any one of the miraculous things that have happened in the last 2 years,
First of all, I feel bad for him because he never hit puberty. So he's already got a big chip on his shoulder.
I just don't.
More high pitched than yours.
What are the miraculous things that have happened over the past 2 years?
No, it's a good question.
No, I mean, what miraculous things? Because again, Israel's economy is in the toilet and the people are leaving. Their IOF are having vast amounts of suicides and desertions. So I'm curious what miracles he's referring to.
Well, maybe he'll share with us.
one of them, pick one: Lebanon, Syria, Hamas, the hostages, Iran, and the U.S. involvement, any one of those things, you would have said that the stress of the moment drove me to delusion. And they all happened in 2 years. And so we are living in a time of miracles and unprecedented opportunities. And the challenge for us here, and with this I'll end because this is key. The challenge for us here.
I want to get a good look at those cufflinks. Let me tell you.
Just the level of just the delusion. Again, they are in a very small bubble of elite oligarchic Zios, and they really like to smell their own farts, but the rest of the world doesn't see it this way. That's the problem. He's delusional.
Well, again, it's all about money and power. It's not about anything of considerable interest that anybody would ever want to deal with. That's why I've always said, when it comes to the corporate international business world, Israelis are tolerated because of how much money and power they have. It's not that people seek to do business with them.
No one likes them.
That they're just wrapped up, and you have to deal with this fuck, with a guy like this, but he's not done. He's got a little bit more to say.
Here is to leverage Israel's successes into our successes and our victories here, because we are one people. Israel's weakness is ours and Israel's strength is ours.
Absolutely.
And now that Israel has turned the entire geopolitical situation on its head, our job in the diaspora is to leverage those wins and win here. Do to our enemies here what Israel did to its enemies there.
So who are those enemies? Who are those enemies here that he thinks we should be annihilating, like the people going through the Holocaust over in Palestine? Who are those enemies?
Guys like this, once again, never get what is coming to them or what should be coming to them. So I'm going to play this one more time so you can hear it very carefully.
Is to leverage those wins and win here. Do to our enemies here what Israel did to its enemies there. And on that, the IAC is focused.
And let me be very clear as to who he's speaking of. He's speaking of me. He's speaking of me in terms of who his enemies are, because these type of Zio freaks, they would start with the anti-Zio Jews first.
Oh,
They'd
yes.
go for us first if they wanted to start getting rid of people.
Well, this is what we were talking about earlier. They're at a point now. First of all, the projection is pathetic because it's obvious that all they're doing is projecting because they know they're losing. They know that they're losing. But Elon Carr, he just incited violence. He incited mass violence. This is a person who says that we have to go after the unwanted Americans who don't support the state of Israel. We have to do to them what Israel did to their enemies. You know what that means? That means genocide. And he wouldn't hesitate for a fucking second because, again, people like him. And by the way, in case you're wondering, and I noticed that our friend is in the chat from Southern California, Lila, Elon Carr lives in Beverly Hills, which should not surprise anybody because this is who these people are. They live behind the gated walls and they think they can't be touched. That's it. That's how they operate.
Yeah, but nobody's untouchable. Nobody is untouchable.
That's true. Hey, if that guy, you want a war, you're going to get one. If he wants one, listen, Elon Carr, I'll meet you in the center of the ring anytime, any place, anywhere.
You would really lower yourself to fighting some old man that sounds like an old woman.
Well, he's not that old, but I would smash his face in half if I have to. That person wants to hurt people who can't defend themselves. That person is a coward, the worst type of coward. That person, like I said, is also dealing with his own shortcomings because his voice is higher pitched than yours. So he already hates himself, no matter how much money he makes. He's probably also a not very tall man. He's probably very short in a lot of ways. And so
we're going into the Peter Napoleon psychological
session. Can't help it. Listen to how he talks. He flippantly talks about mass killing people. How fucking crazy do you have to be? A person who truly believes that they can't be touched. That's it. Why else would he?
Yeah. 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 I'm not sure. Is he, I don't think he's I think he's older than me.
His name is Elon Carr. That's his name.
That doesn't tell me anything about him in terms
He's
of his age.
57.
Okay. So he's only a few years older than me. And yet to me, he looks like an old man.
Well, yeah. Well,
he's only a few years older than me. He's 3 years older than me.
Well, yeah. But again, he's just, he is a
because now I can think, okay, so he's Gen X. So yeah, he's someone who probably got shoved in a shit ton of lockers as a kid and has a big chip on his shoulder.
Well, how bad could he possibly be? Yeah, honestly, I'm thinking about going Mr. Pink. Maybe I need to be Mr. Pink. That's what I got to do. And then the world's tiniest violin playing the quietest song. And that's what's ultimately going to happen. Yeah, you know what? Is there really a difference between a guy like Elon Carr and somebody like Stephen Miller? I don't think so.
Well, Stephen Miller's younger than me. That's what's even creepier.
Stephen Miller's probably younger than me.
I don't know.
Another person who hates himself. That's what you have to understand.
If you were him, wouldn't you hate you?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if I were Stephen Miller, I'd hate myself.
Which again is why you can't let certain people get power, because if they get it, they're going to wield it on people in the most nefarious, cold-hearted, genocidal ways possible. People want to hurt other people. Elon Carr wants to hurt people.
Yes, Irene, Gen X, we were the last kids to get shoved in lockers for a few reasons. One, a lot of schools, especially down in Florida, we don't have lockers anymore. There's no more lockers.
Is that the reason? Well, they started shoving people in lockers so they lock them out?
No, it was also because of all the anti-bullying campaigns and all of that stuff, and I'm not averse to anti-bullying campaigns, but as I've said before, there is a difference between being bullied and being rightfully put in one's place. And at some point in all of our lives, we all need to be put in our place. The problem is there's too many people coming up through life that never properly get put in their place. See, there's a difference between that and being bullied.
And I would definitely say for somebody like Elon Carr, who is a completely emblematic representative of the Zio state, they have not been properly put in their place yet. But that is our task moving forward. And speaking of tasks moving forward, the thing we've talked about constantly that has become a really big problem in the independent media space overall and has been for quite some time is whether or not people are willing to set egos aside and collaborate with people that they may not necessarily completely agree with politically, but understand the bigger mission in place. If there is a person who, from the time that we first collaborated with him to always pointing out his work when we have the opportunity to do so on our channel, and you guys know that he's one of our favorites. James Lee is somebody who is on the mission. And that's one of the rare elements of what we have in front of us today, because so many people claim to be on the mission, and we know that that's not the case. And what has happened over the past 48 hours is emblematic of that in this respect. We appreciate his work, and we will continue to promote his work. And he is here tonight to let us know what he's up to. James Lee, welcome back to Revolutionary Change.
Hey, how's it going, guys? It's been a little bit. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
How are you?
You've definitely, there's been a lot of stuff going on around you lately. You've got quite a little situation that you've got.
Well,
you've got.
I didn't really want to make it. Wasn't really a situation. I wasn't trying to make it into a situation.
Oh, it's a situation now. Whether you could be as gracious as you want to be about the whole thing, but people like me are not so gracious. So, it's a situation now. But anyway.
But thanks for having me on. There's been a crazy, I would say, I think things started kind of going down. I don't think it was related to the Breaking Points thing, but the TikTok ban definitely was related to the Antisemite of the Week recognition, if I might add. That's when I think they started really sort of sending people to report my accounts and stuff like that.
James, if you can talk about, again, we addressed it even earlier in the live stream. A lot of people get caught up in this idea that it's about we've got to stop AIPAC. It's like, yeah, you can stop AIPAC, but that's one of dozens. There are tons of these pro-Israel NGOs out there. And if you could just update the audience about Stop Anti-Semitism, because it is one of several, but it does appear that the woman who runs this organization is relentless beyond words in terms of fighting on behalf of the pro-Israel cause and basically trying to ruin people's lives in the process in terms of how they go about doing their business.
Totally. I mean, I actually just did a video about them today, just trying to find out more information. I did a dig a few months ago, and then I just added it to it. But just the skinny of it, yes, the organization is called Stop Anti-Semitism. It's supposedly going after, people who I guess are saying hateful things or whose behavior is hateful towards Jewish people. But what you find in a lot of these instances where they're highlighting certain accounts, and it's not just media figures, they're going after regular people. And when I was digging through some of the people that they've highlighted on their page, it's like folks who are reposting Al Jazeera articles. I saw one person, a university professor, who was merely just reposting an article from Al Jazeera about, the atrocities in Gaza, whether it be about the starvation or about children getting maimed and things like that. And they cited that as anti-Semitic, and they sent people, and they even bragged that of the 1,000 people that they've sort of gone after in the last year or two, over 400 of them have been fired. That is what they're sort of touting as a measure of success, which I find, to be sort of gross, especially since they are not targeting people who are actually anti-Semitic, because there are, I think you would agree, like true anti-Semites that are out there. That,
yes, and just to stop you 1 second, let me give everyone a reminder. Please remember, we are doing our own Anti-Semite of the Year today. We will be doing a poll at the end of the show. Throw in your nominees, and we're going, James, just, anti-Semites are people that have done the most damage to Jews around the world over the past year. Legitimately,
Netanyahu's got to be at the top of that list. I feel.
Well, okay, and you know what? Let me put that out there, guys. We're taking Milikowski off the table. We're going to assume him. So let's go with everyone but him, because that's just, I mean, that's pretty clear. Okay, so sorry, continue.
No worries. So then you start digging into the financials of this. So Stop Anti-Semitism is not a 501c3, which is actually quite rare because most of these organizations are nonprofits. So this is actually just a separate private entity that's been carved out. And who has it been carved out by? Look that up. So that's been carved out by Adam Milstein, who is a very big time pro-Israeli, not even pro-Israeli. He is Israeli. He is a big donor, billionaire type of person who's been involved in this. So he actually just hired her for a different nonprofit that he runs called the Morona Family Foundation. That is, that funds a lot of other pro-Israel causes, that gets money from other Israeli institutions. And because what I found out in this dig, and I think Anna Kasparian was talking about this on TYT, they were saying that Stop Anti-Semitism is actually being sued because of defamation, because they've literally gone after people who haven't done these things. And they said it's actually really difficult to find where she is because she's using, addresses that are not, they call them fake addresses, but like they're putting addresses down at these random buildings that they're actually not housed in, so they can't actually find where she is. And so then I was trying to do a dig on that.
Wait, something happened to sound.
Oh, you lost your audio there, James. Not yet.
Hold on.
That was weird. There you are.
Got it.
Okay, I think it somehow switched to a different microphone that I'm on. Hang on a second.
They're listening.
Is it?
Well, obviously. Yeah.
Can you hear me again?
Yep. Very good.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. So it actually is tied to this real estate company called Hager. What was the name of it? It was like Hager Pacific or something like that. Hager Pacific. Yeah, that's what it was.
I have nothing to do with this, please.
Yeah, I was going to say, hey, hello. But Hager Pacific is owned by Adam Milstein. So I'm like, oh, this is probably where she's getting all these addresses from, because it's housed, this this group is like housed within this real estate umbrella. So I'm sure they have a plethora of addresses that they can tap into to try to hide where this entity actually lives, because what they do is pretty nefarious in my opinion, in that it's tying together all of these things that they're going after people specifically for Israel, Israel criticism, which I think in the long run probably isn't going to work out for them, because when you have Miss Rachel, at the top of the list of anti-Semites of the year, people will start to realize this is kind of a farce, right? Because you're skipping Nick Fuentes. You're not to say that Fuentes is always wrong, but like, he has actually said, no, I think Jewish people are a big problem in this country and we have to get rid of them. That's when, I saw that on Tucker, when Tucker's like, no, I don't think it's, I don't ascribe that to a certain religion. And he's like, no, hear me out, blah, blah, blah. So that that should be, highlighted, or people who actually go out and, harm Jewish people. Those people are not on the list. It's like Miss Rachel does a video with a Gazan child with a missing arm, and now she's, anti-Semite, in the running.
She's very threatening, Miss Rachel.
The lady's name is Leora Rez. She's the founder and executive director of Stop Anti-Semitism, a refugee from the former Soviet Union where anti-Semitism was rampant. Well, Jen, you could speak to that a little bit.
How can I speak to that?
Well, your family fled the pogroms.
That was when it was Russia. I don't know. Again, another person who's conflating Russia and the Soviet Union. I have no connection to the Soviet Union. My people left from the turn of the last century.
I just want people to, first of all, of course, she's also wearing a sweater of some kind with the entire, Star of David like outlined. I bring this up for a reason, and this is something that we've repeatedly pointed out on our channel. This is a class war, nothing more. That is what this has always been. That is what this is always going to be. Leora Rez is a very well-off, affluent individual. That is why she has the pleasure of making other people's lives miserable. This is what they do. They don't give a damn who they hurt. They don't care who they run over. That's why they have millions of dollars that get funneled into these organizations. But the thing that you brought up, which I thought was interesting, is that you said that this is not a 501c3. This is not a traditional nonprofit. So it almost makes one wonder, is Leora Rez just simply working on behalf of the Israeli government and is not registered under FARA because the Israelis just simply don't think that they have to do that, and our government never enforces it?
Well, she works for Adam Milstein, so she's on a couple of his nonprofit at the top, sort of the principal on, like, she is the top of the Morona Family Foundation, I believe. And according to the latest 990, I think her salary there alone was about 180K, but that was from 2023. So that was, a little bit outdated. So and that's just one of them. I think she's on multiple nonprofit payrolls. So yeah, she's getting
people
paid
like
very
her.
handsomely.
It's not the salary. It's not the salary. The salary is not the thing.
Well, the salary. Well, she's making a nice and comfortable living with that salary, but what she's doing is, in my opinion, like inflicting harm on regular people who are just trying to be out there, like sharing, the atrocities that they saw that day. And then they're saying, no, this is an anti-Semite and we have to get them fired from their job, which is, the goal obviously is to tell people, or to telegraph that you shouldn't share this information, because if you do, you may lose your job.
I think it's unfortunate. I'm not going to speak ill of, your former employer. We don't do that.
Yeah,
but
I don't think it's related to that. Breaking Points does a lot of anti-Israel coverage all the time. I don't think it's related. If I were to speak candidly, I don't know the reason, because I wasn't told, other than the fact that they said they're going to end the partnership and they're moving in a different direction. Mm-hmm. I think it actually has to do with more of the Charlie Kirk stuff that I've been doing.
That's what I said to Peter.
Yeah, because if you notice in their coverage, they don't really talk about Charlie. Well, they did some coverage of it, but it was mostly sticking to the FBI storyline of, we have this kid and his trans boyfriend person, and it was, this Mauser 98, 30-06, whatever Kash Patel said, that they more or less went with it. They went with the text messages. And I have been out there pretty vocally saying, I don't think this story's right. I'm not going probably nearly as far as people like Candace Owens and getting into the Egyptian planes and things like that. But I'm just merely pointing out there's a lot here that seems not right. I think there's some kind of cover-up happening, especially there actually just is a cover-up happening because Joe Kent, who is the deputy counterintelligence, I can't remember his exact title, but he works under Tulsi Gabbard. Anyways, he was trying to open an investigation just to make sure that there wasn't some foreign involvement in the assassination. And Kash Patel went in, had a huge blowout, got Trump and Pam Bondi involved to shut down that investigation. So when I see something like that, that is actually just a cover-up, because if you don't think that there's anything there, what's the harm in letting somebody with his job? His job literally is counterintelligence or counterterrorism. So why not have him look at it and just make sure that's just checked off the list? To me, that's when you say you're not allowed to look into something, either A, you know the answer to it, or B, you don't want to know the answer because you think it's going to mess something up within your particular narrative.
Because you know the answer.
Because you know, yeah, exactly. Both of you know the answer.
You know the answer, and you know what? I don't have anything personal with anything. I don't watch Breaking Points. It's not a show.
I mean, the
watch
segment
anyway.
we did, I mean, that did when I interviewed. This was when you were running against Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I mean, the audience really enjoyed that segment. From my understanding, it was really, that's kind of your perfect space, to be honest. Like that's the audience that I think would gravitate towards a candidate like you.
Oh, I'm not running again. So there's that.
No, but
there's
I'm saying,
that.
Yeah.
But what I will say that I think is important here is that you are the reason that, along with Candace, as much as anybody, and Ian Carroll obviously does some pretty solid work as well on this topic, is that you were willing to go where nobody else is willing to go. You were willing to identify, hey guys, look at this investigation that I just did. The Google algorithm shows that there are traces to Tel Aviv on the Google algorithm searching for the people in question the day before this happened. You can't make this up. So if anybody decides that they're not willing to go there, then I'm done listening to you. FD Signifier is a great left commentator. I was watching his video about Charlie Kirk, and the second he said Tyler Robinson, I said, that's it, I'm done listening. Because once you go there, that means you're not willing to go where you need to go. You know where the line stops. You know where there is like, okay, you can't cross that point. And it's again, it's like with Kyle. Kyle didn't need to make a statement or say anything. And not only does he make a statement, but he basically throws you under the bus. I'm like, what is this shit? Like, you don't have to do that.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay.
And by the way, I haven't watched him in like 3+.
I have no idea what you're even referring, because I'm honestly just doing I've been so busy. I'm doing my own thing. I have no idea what people are saying.
Oh, okay.
So he went on with some guy who I guess is a friend of his the other day. And he decided to make a statement. Again, I understand he's defending his wife and people are out there making statements and all that shit. Whatever. You haven't said anything bad. So he proceeds to talk about it. And again, I understand, like I said, defending his wife. But then he starts to basically make it personal with you. And I'll text you the link. I'm just thinking, this was so not necessary. Like, you did not have to go there. That's the stuff when it comes to these internet spaces where you're just wasting time. Yeah, you're going to get a shitload of clicks. I get that. But in the grand scheme of things, what does that do for anybody? It doesn't do anything. And to even suggest that the work you do is not solid, it is very solid. I would promote your work today and every day. And
yeah,
we do. The person, of course, who's having a freaking field day with this is Jimmy, because you helped him out. And now Jimmy's like, you see, they all hate me and they're making it a James problem now, because it's like we have fierce disagreements with Jimmy all the time. And you know what we have said repeatedly? Jimmy has been right from day one about Israel and Palestine. And as far as I'm concerned, that's what matters above everything else. He has a major platform. He uses it for all it's worth. He is never afraid to go places, especially Kirk Metzger is not afraid to go places. And frankly, those are the people that you want to collaborate with, even if we have disagreements. So when I saw that, I was like, yeah, you know what? I ain't down with that shit. It's not cool. And so I want to ask you, what is your next move? Like, how can we help promote your work? What are you looking to do going forward?
Right. And that was really the only reason why, I even made sort of a public video about it, is because it was, in a span of about a week, I had gotten, taken off of TikTok, and that was where maybe half of my income was coming from, right? And so I'm like, I'm deplatformed there, and then I'm not going to be contributing to Breaking Points anymore. So to continue to do the work that I do, I said, hey, I need to reach out to my audience and see if anybody can support me, just a little bit, just to get through the stretch. I know that I'm going to be fine in the long run, because I think overall, as long as you continue to just do the best work you can and you're honest with people, I think that will speak for itself over a long period of time. You can always go back to, I think the truth is always your strongest defense. If you're always telling the truth, regardless of whether you get something's right, something's wrong, if you're honest with the people who are listening to you, that's the most important thing. But I just needed a little bit to get through the stretch. And that's why I made the video saying, hey, I've been sort of deplatformed. This is what's going on. And I did try to make sure it's like, hey, I don't want, a lot of you found me through Breaking Points, and I still like Breaking Points. I was watching some of their videos today. Keep on supporting Breaking Points. I'm not trying to make this a thing. And I thought, hopefully that was, I didn't respond to most of the drama, because I didn't even know what was going on, to be honest. Because I've been really busy trying to get my website going and, getting that up and running. So that's kind of the next move, is really going fully independent, which is, I've always been fully independent. To give credit to Breaking Points, they've never editorialized me. And I always say, like, everybody always says you have 100% editorial control until the day you don't, which has happened. And because I think it started, a couple weeks ago, I interviewed Elijah Schaefer, who I thought it was an important interview to do, because he was getting sued by Alexis Wilkins, the girlfriend of Kash Patel. And I said, this is an attack on the First Amendment here. It doesn't really matter if you agree with Elijah on some of the other issues that he's talked about, right? You can disagree with that, but this certainly is basically attacking podcasters and journalists because he disagreed with the job. He's criticizing Kash Patel a lot, right? And they're going hard on, a lot of the right has been going hard on Kash Patel, because he's been, pretty much a clown since he's, since he's taken his position. So I thought that was important for people to understand the insights of that lawsuit and how ridiculous it was and what she was, alleging. And they told me the particular episode was, defamation, or could possibly be defamation according to their lawyers, and that it was not neutral coverage. And so I was like, okay, it's fine. It's your platform. No worries. Like, if you don't want to run it, it's fine. So then I ran it on my thing. And some people were like, well, you did call them out on it, so of course you're going to get shit canned. Because I said, hey, this is the interview they wouldn't let me run, which is only the truth. I'm like, hey, they wouldn't let me run it. I think it's really important. I'm going to run it. So that's kind of what I have coming up. I'm really excited about the projects that I'm working on. I'm probably going to get into more of your space, which is like kind of live streaming and things like that. So I'm pretty excited about it. And I've had, just to say thank you to all the support that I've gotten, which I didn't even expect, to be honest. I thought it was going to be like a couple people might care, but I think a lot of people were behind me, which was really amazing to see. Somebody sent me the first video that Breaking Points released, and all the comments were like about me, which I thought was insane, and really awesome to see. So thank you guys for your support. And the promise that I continue to give to people is, like, I'm just going to keep doing the best I can. I'm going to just not, obviously, if I don't always get things right, but I'm just going to be out there trying to seek the information that I think we should have. I'm trying to do a job as a journalist, which is basically, if somebody doesn't want something reported, it should probably be reported, right? I think a lot of journalism nowadays has veered into this sort of PR kind of thing, where you're taking something that an official said and then you're running that story, which I think is just PR, or you're trying to like
stenography, James.
Yeah, or interviews. A lot of people, I think now in the podcasting space, is like, oh, I want to get big interviews with people, so I want to be in their good graces, that kind of thing, which fortunately I'm just not interested in that. Like, I don't have a desire to be invited to those things. So I'm fine being kind of like in my own little bubble. That's why I live in San Diego, which nothing really happens out here. I'm not in the DC swamp. I'm not in New York. I'm not in LA.
I will say this, though.
I know what he's going to say. I know.
Yeah, you know what I'm going to say.
I know what you're going to say. You're going to tell him about the fish tacos.
All right. Old Town has incredible fish tacos.
I told you
They
he was
do.
going to tell you about the
Well, I
fish
mean, I
tacos.
grew up here. I know all about the fish tacos.
You know.
Yeah. I got
had a
places that are, I think probably, I don't know what Old Town place you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about, but I know of several other amazing places that are just like gas station, but it's amazing.
Yes. The holes in the walls are the places
Yeah.
that you get the best stuff like tacos. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we have all of James's information will be in our description, so you guys should follow him. And I just wanted to tell you, I think it's very smart for you to just do your whole own thing, because at the end of the day, we are all basically at the mercy of Google and Meta and all of these ridiculous oligarchs that get to determine what we can and cannot say. And Jordan did it a while ago with Status Coup, where he just did his whole own thing. And it has nothing to do like with the algorithm stuff in terms of his membership is different. And that's what you need to do. Because otherwise it's hard to keep your platform protected.
Frankly, if
Yeah,
there
it's
was an
unfortunate because I hate, to be honest, like I was always very, very reticent to go down this membership route because I just believe that the information that I look up should be free. I don't want to gatekeep and say, oh, you need to subscribe in order to get this information. I want people to have it. So, you know, I now understand that it's kind of maybe necessary. And I think people are very willing to support folks that are honest and are out there doing good work. I've learned because it's just what it needs. I mean, it's like the same. You just have to build a separate funding apparatus outside of the mainstream system. Like if you're relying constantly on the algorithm, they can just turn you off, you know, like tomorrow if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even, okay, so I'm on YouTube, that's going well. I'm on Instagram, but, you know, the next day, those could be gone as well. So you do need to kind of have that separate thing to actually, to at least get you through some of these tough stretches. Because I think censorship always comes in waves, right? Right now, they're censoring this Israel issue. We'll see what happened a few years ago. It was COVID, right? All of the COVID people who were doing honest coverage about what was going on there with the vaccines and the lockdowns or whatever, they were deplatformed. And now that seems to be okay to say. So it kind of comes in waves. And so you just kind of need to have that little backstop in order to just continue through these stretches that are rough, depending on what you're going after at the time.
Yeah.
Want to leave you with this thought. You know, you brought up a good point about Elijah Schaffer. Yeah, there's very little that I would probably agree with him on, but it gets back to the old argument about whether or not Alex Jones should be banned. Either you believe in free speech or you do not. And we're living in a world today where our constitutional rights they're hanging by a thread. And this is just another example of that. People didn't like the fact that you spoke with Elijah, and that is the reason that they want to separate from you. No, especially right now, we have to have conversations with people that we normally would not talk to, because that's what's ultimately causing Israel's demise, is that the people are uniting around a central issue. That's why even somebody like Fuentes has to listen to other people tell him that if you turn this into a Jew problem and not an elite problem that happens to have a lot of Jews, then you're already causing a rift that isn't going to solve the problem. But at least there are people that are open to that conversation. If you shut the door completely and just say, well, I don't like that person because he's such and such about this other issue, then we're never going to get anywhere. So you are a real journalist. You're willing to be disliked, which is what a journalist is supposed to do. The people in power are not supposed to like you. They're actually supposed to see you as an adversary.
Right. If you're friends with the people you're covering, you're not doing your job.
Exactly. And I have no desire to be friends. I mean, it just doesn't interest me. So I'm not going to be, unfortunately, I think, unfortunately for me, I'm never going to have the biggest podcast in the world where I'm bringing on all the cool people. But I think there's some people, people come to me when they want to speak the truth about something. And that's what I care about. They come from all walks of life. I have people, like celebrities and these kinds of people who reach out to me and DM me like, hey, you're doing great stuff. And these are people who can't say these things out loud, but whenever they want to, like, hey, this is like kind of the avenue. And I think we just need more of this. Hopefully we can go back to more of this. And I think we are, to end on, this is a quote that that it's recently become super top of mind for me, which is that all tyrannies rule through fraud and force, but once the fraud is exposed, then they have to rely solely on force. And that's kind of like, we're at that inflection point where the fraud is getting exposed right and left every single day. And so that's why you're seeing more of these crackdowns, because that's the only move they have left. Like Stop Anti-Semitism, that is a propaganda tool that is not working anymore because people see through it. Or AIPAC or the ADL, all of these groups. I'm not just speaking directly on the Israel issue, but there are other issues of propaganda that people talk about, whether it be the war machine or things, going to war against Venezuela. Like that's not working anymore. Like we're not really buying the reasons that they're selling anymore. So then the next thing is, oh, if you talk about this, then you're going to jail or you're censored or you're going to lose your job or whatever it is. That's kind of the battle that we're up against. And I'm like, that's always very top of mind for me, is that this is sort of the beginning stages of that. And we need to all kind of band together, regardless of whether you agree with them on all the issues. You just need to agree on this one issue. Like you said, we need to agree on free speech, freedom of press. If you believe in that, then I'm with you.
Yeah.
You did, without question, in my humble opinion. There were some good ones, but I think you did the best interview with Jen when she ran for Congress. You were very gracious. You did an amazing job.
Thank you.
And if there's anything,
I don't even remember it, to be honest with you. Isn't that crazy? I don't. I mean,
it got over 100,000 views. I remember very well. And okay. I just want to say,
sorry, James, it's all a blur to me.
No, like, I'm sure you were doing like 17 interviews a day.
Well, it was crazy. And I don't remember in which campaign and then who I met where. And it's just, it's a blur. It's a blur.
The point is, if there's anything we can do to help, especially if you decide to start your own channel and we can help boost, we will always continue. Yep. As long as you're putting content out on Instagram, we will continue to promote your work, brother. So hopefully everything goes smoothly. And like I said, if there's anything we could do to help spread the word, we will be more than happy to do so. You did it for us. We're happy to do it for you.
Appreciate you guys. No, you guys are soldiers with everybody else. We're just grinding and we need to sort of have this. I mean, this is what's beautiful. It's like we're all doing our own thing, but with like kind of one common mission. No, there's no editor coming to us and saying you can't say this or you have to cover the story this way. But we kind of all have this kind of loosely aligned goal of telling the truth, which is a beautiful thing. And it's also a very dangerous thing to the powers that be, because now you have people who don't coordinate, because people all the time are like, oh, you're just like a Candace show, or you're just saying the stuff that Ian tells you to say. I'm like, no, dude, we have almost zero communication with one another. Like we're not telling each other what to cover, but for some reason we're all kind of on that same path. And it's because that path is the one that is like, we're just both going after the truth. So it's like naturally going to lead us there versus somebody top down telling you this is the story of the.
Right. Yeah. No, you're just uncovering rock. Like you're just turning over stones. What you're just all finding stuff because you're looking. That's the key thing. Yeah, for sure.
A novelty thought. Appreciate
But thank you guys so much. I appreciate all the stuff that you guys do.
Same, my friend. Have a great evening, and we'll definitely be in touch.
Bye, James.
Thank you.
Definitely glad to hear that things are hopefully going to work out well. And of course, he knows that we will be here to help him. And if
he's way more gracious than I am. The truth is, I don't watch Breaking Points. I haven't watched Kyle in years. It's been years since the last time, the 2 election cycles ago, when they tried to like shepherd us right back into the duopoly. But he might, like James might think like, no hard feelings. I don't feel that way, because I believe that when people show you who they are, you need to believe them. When a media outlet shows you who it is, believe it. Believe it. And if a media outlet is going to dismiss somebody for flying a little too close to truth, okay, then that means that media outlet is not interested in truth. They're simply there as controlled resistance, and they're only willing to go within the little spectrum that they're allowed to go in. So they'll get close to the what looks like progress, but they won't really step over the line at the end of the day. And so really that is still part of the capital class. They're still part of the problem. And so he might have no hard feelings. I don't feel that way.
No. And again, it's not a question specifically with James. And the reason why I think this is a bigger issue than people are maybe necessarily making it out to be, or they're having their opinion about it. like Scooby and Shaggy. The fact of the matter is, James does great journalism.
Yes.
And his content is solid. He makes very good use of Instagram and TikTok when he was allowed to. But who's to say that Zuckerberg is not going to turn into Larry Ellison and eventually is going to say, yeah, you can't produce any content that's against Israel here either. So your ability to make income that way, that's gone. And we just accept it. James lost his way of making a living. And there are
That
people
sounds like it was more TikTok related for him.
Oh, yeah, that was a big part of it for sure. And then to compound it by breaking points, letting him go, it's like, what? That's the thing. It's one thing to conduct yourself in a professional manner, but there are people out there that are dumping on James right now. Like, what?
I don't get it at all. And here, something people, when you're looking at independent journalists, so like people like James or people like Jordan Chariton, it's a matter of what they're covering in terms of, are they being truthful? Are they really looking for factual information? But keep in mind, these are people that curate their own stuff. So they determine what is a priority to cover. And you can tell a lot about somebody by what they choose to cover, not just how they cover it, but even just the subjects that they're covering. That tells you a lot. So what James is covering, when you look at how he prioritizes things, he's on our mission, speaking truth to power and standing up against the oligarchy. He's on that mission, and he's definitely on the mission to support free Palestine. So the fact that they would dismiss him, to me, shows that they are compromised to some extent by whatever entity has something to gain by stifling an investigation into the killing of Charlie Kirk. So they are compromised by the entity that has something to gain by keeping quiet, talking about Charlie Kirk's killing. It's that simple.
Yeah. And I said the same exact thing about FD Signifier, who does these very good long form, it's almost like a movie that he ends up doing, because they're usually like an hour and a half to 2 hours long. And he was doing a very informative, sort of takedown of all things Charlie Kirk and why Charlie Kirk should not be treated as a martyr. And I agree 1,000% on that. But then when it came to the topic of his assassination and the direction he took the story, I said, all right, well, I'm out. Because obviously where you're going with this is not where the story actually leads. It's like, if it bleeds, it leads. Well, you either are going to tell the truth or you're going to stop at the point where they tell you can't go past this. This is the point of no return. If you go past this point, now you're going into a territory where you may not be able to come out on the other side. If you listen to the video, he basically goes into this explanation about how basically it's Tyler Robinson. The Tyler Robinson did it. It's sort of an open and shut case type situation. It's not. To even use his name is going along with the State Department's narrative about what really happened. James showed that there was a manipulation. There was a discovery in the Google algorithm that Israel was searching for Tyler Robinson and a few other elements related to the assassination a day before the assassination even happened. Like, that's the type of stuff that you can't make up, where that there are way too many signs that show that Turning Point USA has been, how would you describe it? It's basically been an organization that was used in part with the State Department and the State of Israel to maintain that system, to maintain the Israel-U.S. relationship. Turning Point USA was the biggest cultivator of Christian Zionists in the United States. There is nothing close. So when the founder or the leader of the organization decides, I'm not going along with the program anymore, you will go along with the program or we will deal with you. There are text messages between Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk specifically saying, I think they might try to take me out because I just can't go along with what they're saying. And then they take them out.
Yeah.
If you're not interested in getting to the truth, then I'm just not interested.
I think David Hunter was asking if I could talk about why I think it has something to do with what he was saying about Charlie Kirk. Well, first of all, that's what James thinks. That's what he speculated too. But I thought that as well. More so than he is an anti-Semite, because that's absurd. That's just silly. I mean, that's
Tony, again, I understand. And I've said very clearly that with what the DOJ is doing right now, particularly with Kash Patel's girlfriend, and that's what she should be referred to as, because she's clearly a honeypot situation. The fact that they're throwing these completely inconceivable lawsuits at people because they dare to question where Alexis does business or where her loyalties lie. I can understand from a business standpoint where Crystal and Saga are concerned that they don't want to have to deal with this, that stop anti-Semitism with the constant harassment, with having to deal with thousands of calls and thousands of emails harass. You better get rid of James Lee or this is never going to stop. And that's what they do. So I totally understand why they felt the need to do that. And sometimes people lack courage as well, that they're not willing to stand on principle. But
it's often inversely correlated to how much money you're being paid.
That's true too. That's a big part of it. If you guys are okay, so Schaefer's a neo-Nazi. Well, I don't understand what the point is. Do you believe that you shouldn't talk to people that vehemently disagree with you and potentially try to find common ground if at all possible? If we don't talk to people that are fucked up in the head like Nick Fuentes, you're going to get this civil war that this country doesn't want because one side is armed and the other side isn't. So as far as I'm concerned, it is necessary to try to let cooler heads prevail, especially right now where you have people that have real power. Elijah Schaefer has no fucking power. I don't give a fuck if he's a neo-Nazi. You know what I do care about? I care about Zio billionaires like Elon Carr using their platform, and they have real fucking power to be able to say, we have to do to the American people who don't agree with the state of Israel what Israel did to the Palestinians. That's a person that you have to worry about.
I want to point out this Kash Patel is, can we not say homo? Can we just say gay? And I agree. And also, I do believe that the girlfriend is a beard. So when I agree totally with what you're saying, but can we just not say homo? It's just rude.
No homo. That's the joke.
It's rude.
If you're enjoying this conversation, which we hope you are, please consider going over to patreon.com/revolutionary change for as little as $5 a month. You could become a supporter of our small but mighty and growing channel. We are 92,500 subscribers as of right now, closing in 7,500 subscribers away from a plaque. Can you believe it, Jen?
Oh, I'll wear it around my neck. I'll look like a rapper or something.
No, what
the
hell's his name again? Don't say it.
We're at 92,539.
That's gravy. The guy who used to wear the clock around his neck. Why am I forgetting his name? Because he's such a.
I don't know, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wear it around my
neck. Flavor Flav.
All right.
I did not see anybody right, but yeah. Okay, so I finally got it right. So for those of you that are here, and we really appreciate your support of our channel, Brian J., thank you very, very much for becoming a YouTube member. We really appreciate you being here. Chip Walter with the $5. Laura Loomer, not ethnically Jewish, didn't convert to Judaism, acts Jewish to then be an insane I'm pretty sure Laura Loomer is Jewish.
She might be, she might not be, but even if she's not Jewish, she could be Jew-ish.
That's one of the all-time great lines. One of the all-time great lines. I agree. Splash Ketberger with the $5. The world will freak out, but Jonathan Greenblatt and the ADL have put a lot of people in danger.
Agreed. That's a good one. Yeah, I'm adding that to my list. I have been keeping track of what people have been saying. So we have quite a list. We'll have to narrow it down.
All right. We got Laura Loomer. We got Jonathan Greenblatt.
We have Loomer's on here for sure.
Looney Loomer and bald-headed jabroni.
That bitch.
Yeah. Libertarian Social Democrat with the $1.99. We welcome Somalis. We don't welcome garbage Zios. Yeah, you know, this whole anti-Somali narrative that they're going with right now and the way they're going.
What is that? What is that? Why?
Distract from Israel as far as I'm concerned at this point.
Does it have anything to do with them trying to go after Ilhan Omar?
Yes, of course. That's the whole point.
Okay.
No, they really, like I said, you want to talk about a person who has to look over both shoulders every time she steps outside. Ilhan Omar is somebody who does get death threats on the regular. Libertarian Social Democrat with the 499. One main reason why I have a soft spot for MTG, she doesn't have that evil Mar-a-Lago women face like Kristi Noem and doesn't have crazy eye looks.
Okay. All right, it's a fair comparison. Can we address this? Even though I know that Barack is a troll, can you please just say something about this, please?
I don't really feel the need to dignify Barack.
Barack, Ilhan Omar is an amazing person.
Probably a lot more American than you are.
Yeah, and what she does is she fights for her people in her district that actually voted for her. She actually does her work for her constituents. It's fascinating how that happens. She is not anti-American. She's pro-human.
And let me also point one more thing out that is very important here. If Ilhan Omar was doing such a shitty job, if she was a lazy bum of a representative, no one would talk about her. Nobody.
But she's effective.
She's effective.
That's the thing. People don't realize that because she doesn't seek the spotlight like some people.
You know, when the ignorants like to make their statements about Somalia and the refugees that are invading Minnesota and Minneapolis, St. Paul, and saying that they're taking over, would you care to guess what the United States has done to Somalia for many a generation?
You mean the same as we've done to every other friggin' nation state around the world?
Yeah. Be happy that they're not committing terrorist acts here in the United States against Americans. And frankly, they probably would feel very justified in doing so. The grace of other nations and what we've done to them. Why don't you look up the opium epidemic that we put China through for so many, many decades that many families in this country got very rich from, that they have swept under the rug for generations. Why don't you talk about that one?
This is funny to me. I would scale him and pound him into the ground if he even looked at Ilhan sideways.
Oh,
like you don't like, and I'm not to say that she couldn't defend herself because
she's a ninja princess.
I call her the Muslim ninja princess because she is like she's. Let me tell you something. She is fierce like Medea. She is.
Listen, considering the girth of somebody like Fine, I
he
think
could sit on her.
Like she would basically just go like she would go King Hippo on his ass and basically hit him right in the X, and he would have to be constantly picking up his shorts because they keep falling down.
I get somewhat defensive about Ilhan Omar, and I know I shouldn't because I know that she is way more capable than I am of taking care of herself than I am. Like, I mean, but it's like people have no idea. Read her autobiography. No idea what kind of a woman she is, how strong she is.
Duly noted with the $5. Hillary is grooming the future hegemony in foreign policy to pillage. Her, Victoria Nuland, and Madeleine Albright have a special place in hell. Well, only one of them is currently there, but the other two might not be that far behind. You know, at least Trump is transparent enough to say when somebody asked him, "Are you going to heaven when you die?" He's like, "Probably not. Probably not." I'm like, hey, at least he's honest. I wonder what Hillary Clinton would say. We could send Hillary Clinton to Mars now, as far as I'm concerned, as well. That would probably be a good idea.
I think she should go. I think she should go to Zio Hell. That's where they all should go.
Yeah, maybe the rapture will happen.
Look, it's the Mohi. It's the Mohi Munchkin.
Side with the extremely generous 50 revolutionary change memberships. Thank you very, very much. Really appreciate it. Danielle from Hell for the £4.99. In the UK, we have the insidious UK Lawyers for Israel, who are going after our pro-Pal doctors. Dr. Ghassan Abu Sita just targeted for the 10th time.
Oh, no, the UK has been insufferable with their anti-free speech and cracking down on dissent and going after elderly people and veterans and all sorts of people. No, the UK has been absolutely abhorrent.
Danielle, tune into the live stream on Saturday night. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to address Tommy Robinson again because that guy just can't seem to shut his fucking mouth. But, you know, hey, keep exposing your whole ass, little Tommy. That's not even his real name, by the way. Piano Man with the $5 super sticker. Thank you very, very much. Gezin82 with the $10. Kyle Kalinske has gone to a new level in the past year. He has been on fire and changed for the better, I believe. I had once stopped watching, but I'm a big fan once again. Look, there is no question. I mean, listen, Kyle Kalinske supports the Palestinian people. He supports Medicare for all, single payer.
Yeah.
It's not
He's
like
got
Kyle,
the right policy.
Yeah,
I've
it's not
never.
like Kyle supports bad stuff. I think we just have to be we have to be honest with ourselves about how do we coalition build. And listen, I have a lot of disagreements with Tucker Carlson, but Tucker Carlson has truly turned over a new leaf over the past year plus, 2 years even. I mean, he has his way of saying what needs to be said, but he's been really sharp about it. And Kyle speaks very poorly of Tucker Carlson. I could understand him saying things about Joe Rogan and the crazy stuff that he says, but if you have allies that are willing to lock arms on the issue of Israel-Palestine, you have to be willing to put differences aside. You just have to. And of course, in the case of James Lee, we support his work, full stop. Tony D with 23 months. Erica Kirk is grifting for a media career. Love you, Jen. Oh, that's sweet.
That's so sweet. Thank you, Tony D.
Tony, I am going to cover Erica Kirk again in about a week's time after she does an interview on CBS News with Barry Weiss. And that will be not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. So I'll have a few things to say about that one. And Chris Garrett, member for 23 months. Always great to see Jen and Peter together. Always great to see you, sir. And so.
Wait, and you know who else is Somalian? Do you know who else is Somali? Iman. Somali. Yes, Iman.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
David,
I was thinking
David
about that.
Bowie.
Yes, I know. I'm
wife,
saying
Iman.
Well, most say Iman, not it sounded like you said it differently.
No, well, I'm just saying, like, I grew up like with her in the supermodel category, and she's always loved it. And so yeah, I have an affinity for that, I suppose. Why would anybody pick on the Somalians? Like, let's find people whose lives have been excruciatingly painful and hard and pick on them. That's what that is. Like, that. Seriously,
JD, it's not really a question of trust. It's a question.
I don't either.
It's a question of it's a means to an end. There's a lot of people I don't trust, but if you're willing to fight on the front lines on a critical issue, then let's fight. That's my attitude. I would say the same about Candace. I would say the same about a lot of people. The only people you can really trust is yourself. So here we are.
Again, this is why Peter and I are stuck.
Yeah, we are stuck. We have to get along.
We have to get along because we can't trust anybody else.
No. And we say this because when you recognize the fight that's in front of us, this is why uniting around these core issues like Israel-Palestine stands above the rest.
Just 6 weeks after AIPAC members helped George Latimer defeat squad member Jamal Bowman in New York, another anti-Israel member of Congress, Cori Bush, was on the ballot in St. Louis. The AIPAC Super PAC, United Democracy Project, helped to educate voters in the district about all that was at stake in this race. Together, we delivered.
We are done with AIPAC-funded candidates that put foreign interests ahead of the interests of working Americans. You can help us beat AIPAC at their own game. Please donate to Revolutionary Change now and help us fight fire with fire.
We need new material. I have uploaded some new videos, so hopefully we'll get some new material.
Guys, check out revolutionarychangepac.org. If you are so inclined, you can go to the website, but you can also click on the QR code right above Jen's head.
But yet again, I know that everybody sees it here.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
But that's not where it is to me.
No, but that's where it is.
To me, it's here.
That's weird.
I know.
Well, at least we're positioned in the right spot.
I know. God forbid you were on the left.
To the left, to the left.
I'll be on the left.
You are left.
Oh, I'm left.
You're left of left.
I'm left. I left the left.
You did leave the left.
I can't with them.
Well, Colin, you have that article.
Well, are
that I
we
s-
gonna do? Are we gonna do Venezuela? Like, what's your?
Well, I think we can. I think we can talk. We can kind of tie these in because, again, so much of what we have to deal with is empire and the people that want to sell empire. We don't know what's going to happen in Venezuela, but here's what we do know. The person that they are claiming is going to be the next president of Venezuela.
Juan Guaido?
Yeah, really.
Is he back?
This is the female Juan Guaido. You
Guaido
are going to
too.
have to rip this out of their cold, dead hands because the Venezuelan people are not messing around.
No.
And who's to say that there won't be help from other countries? But here is the statement from the supposed Nobel Prize winner. To what she did to earn it, I'm not quite sure.
This is amazing, super exciting for me. We will open Venezuela for foreign investment. I am talking about a $1.7 trillion opportunity.
You know
For
who else?
who?
Yeah, for who? Not for the average person.
Not for the Venezuelans.
Not in the least.
For global capitalists, yes, it's an amazing opportunity.
Oh, yes. And that is, again, the problem here because Maria Elvira Salazar said the exact same thing, 1.7 trillion. So, of course,
That's the talking point.
multinational corporations have estimated that this is how much money is going to be dispersed in their favor. Does this really surprise anybody?
No, well, this is why I never bothered to learn her name. It's like you don't name the food. It doesn't matter who they put in this in her spot. It's irrelevant. And they'll when they're done with her, they'll be done with her. It'll be a scandal and they'll get rid of her if she doesn't play ball in the way they want her to. But this is going to end very badly. In fact, I think it's going to end uber badly for her in her own country.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
I think it's going to end very badly. I think that the majority of the people in Venezuela are not with her, and I think that this is going to end badly for her.
Not only in oil and gas, which is huge, and you know that the opportunities because we will open all.
Well, look at that. The America Business Forum.
You know, she's like, seriously, this like reads like she's auctioning off her country for parts.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
What it feels like. Right. Yeah. She's like she's selling off parts to the highest bidder. The thing is is that just because she was able to sell herself, because clearly she's a corporate whore. She's on the payroll. She's getting something. That the people of Venezuela are not going to be down with this.
No, they're not.
They're just not going to be down with this. So, yeah.
We've already seen the abuelas walking around with the AR-15s ready for action. So you're really testing the patience of your countrymen. And you know what's going to end up happening? What's actually probably happening almost by accident? There is no question that people probably are not totally thrilled with Maduro, but the nation is going to rally around him as a result of this. He is probably becoming more popular now than he's ever been before.
Oh,
so
yes.
It's having the opposite effect in terms of their intention.
We tend to do that. That's the exact same thing that we just did this past year in Iran with going after Iran on behalf of the Zio state. It's the same thing. Even people that are in the opposition to the government in Iran were against us. Because again, and this is what I don't understand, how people don't grasp this basic concept. Let's say hypothetically that a whole bunch of people in Venezuela don't like Maduro and instead they like her. Here's what I know. None of them like us. That's the thing. So they might not like her and they might not like Maduro. but they definitely all don't like us. That's the problem.
Upstream, middle stream, downstream to all companies, but also in mining, in gold, in infrastructure, power. We have our grid right now has a 17 gigawatt opportunity of energy.
Of where is my teleprompter? Where can I look and see what they want me to say?
Right there. Look at it. Do you see it?
Yeah,
What do you see?
The crazy eyes.
Yes. Do you see it? You got the perfect freeze frame. That, for people who don't know, because women generally can tell better than other women, like when somebody has the crazy eyes. And I've said it about like Gretchen Whitmer has the crazy eyes. Like there's certain people that have the crazy eyes. This woman has the crazy eyes. Okay. And it isn't just because it's some weird freeze frame. This is actually just her. Crazy eyes.
Talking about we have access to mining and gold as if South America is not getting pillaged enough by capitalism as it is. So let's find another avenue to go to. Again, you're turning Maduro into a martyr is basically what you're doing.
They're making him very popular. He's going to just be more popular. Yeah.
And I still say probably one of the biggest reasons why that it's happening this way is because he is not a capitalist. And if you're not a capitalist, the first thing you don't think about is how to make more money. He thinks, well, we don't want to destroy all of our natural resources for the sake of extracting all of this oil. So maybe it's probably not a good idea to go down that road. And the multinational corporations led by ExxonMobil, BP, and the like are all looking at this and saying, no, those are trillions upon trillions of dollars in profit that is under your soil, and we want it. So,
Pirate Justin, you're right. And it's great. And then the next thing you know, your rabbit is cooking in a pot. Okay.
Have
So
you ever seen Fatal Attraction?
But then afterwards, it's not good.
Stop doing that, please.
I keep getting rid of it and you keep putting it back.
Yeah. Hello. Well, great to see you, Teresa. And yes, thank you for smashing the like button. So let's get away from crazy.
Potential that needs to be rehabbed, certainly for technology and AI and tourism. You know, Venezuela has 2,800 kilometers of pristine Caribbean coastline ready to be developed. So this is going to be huge.
What is this, Gaza?
Yes. Well, and funny you should say that, because one of the key things about her is that she's a Zio tool. So there is an absolute direct link between this and her and Zio hell. It's all connected. They're trying to hedge bets because they have to make sure that they have complete control over resources because they don't really know what's going to happen over there in Zio hell.
Well, look at that perfect freeze frame. We will bring rule of law. Now, you'll bring the rule of law that you make up as you go. You know what the amazing thing is about the way we're conducting business? This is going to cause capitalism to fail all over the world. That's what's going to happen.
Here's hoping.
The entire system's going to fall apart.
Yes.
Because they don't know when. Again, they are not just in the hog stage. They're in the elephant stage now. This is beyond logic in terms of how we be able to do this. This is crazy. The second the guns start being pointed in their direction, we'll see just how tough they really are. Because this country is not going to die for this. Our country's not going to die for this. But
what are you calling her, Maria Coronavirus? That's just fucking funny.
For sure.
We'll bring rule of law. We will open markets. We will have security for foreign investment and a transparent, massive privatization program that is waiting for you.
Okay, do you see that? Here's the oxymoron. It's just right there. First of all, private, transparent do not go together. When you're privatizing things, you're making it so that the power is in the hands of the few people. That's the whole point of privatizing. Privatizing is capital at its like running amok, right? So what about that creates transparency? Those are completely opposed. That makes no sense. Transparent and yet private.
Yeah.
Really? Who buys this shit? Who buys what you're selling, crazy lady?
Do I have your permission? Again, I don't want to spring it on you because I know that you don't want me to do that. But
what are you wanting to talk about?
Well, if you want to talk about a crazy person who's in Venezuela, what about talking about the crazy person who's now running for Congress again?
No, not giving her the time of day. And I told you I'm not even going to talk about her. Nope.
Okay. That person has crazy eyes too, by the way.
You know what though? But she's crazy for pay.
That's true.
We're not going to give her any time of day.
Just understand how certain people conduct business. And again, the whole point is Venezuela is the country with the richest natural oil resource in the world. 25% of the crude oil supply on the planet is under their soil. And
correct. This is correct. Basically, Venezuela will become financially enslaved to the IMF, the World Bank, BlackRock, State Street. Correct.
You forgot Vanguard.
She's selling them off. Which is why I think it's not going to end well for her with her own people. They'll take care of their own business there.
Colin, that clip is
out their own trash.
Colin, that's for Saturday. So just hold that for Saturday.
I told you I didn't want to talk about her, and you.
No, I'm not talking about her. It's something else.
Okay.
Stop thinking everything's about you.
You just brought it up.
I did, but I didn't do anything. I did not bring her up, and I'm not going to. Just saying, crazy person is not going to be brought up. But what we are going to do is we're going to do a little poll. We are going to have ourselves a little bit of fun.
Okay.
So, Colin, if you have that graphic of the Stop Anti-Semitism's top 10 anti-Semites of the year to try to figure out who is the anti-Semite, we are going to discuss why this is crazy, but we also need to put up the poll now. So, Jen, who is going to be our top 4? Well, we'll just say the people that are the greatest cause of anti-Semitism.
Okay, so we have had a lot of good suggestions, and again, we're going to take Milikowski off the table, okay? Because that's silly. So Jonathan Greenblatt was one of the ones that was mentioned multiple times. Ben Shapiro, Miriam Adelson, and then I don't know. I mean, I would say it's a toss up at that point between like. You could say, and I know Ben Gvir, but I'm kind of let's take heads of state out of it.
Yeah, just keep it to America, even though these are all loyal to Israel.
No, it doesn't. I just think let's keep the heads of state out of it and keep it amongst people that are just like propagating.
I also think that Mark Levin
Dershowitz was mentioned a couple times. So
Mike Huckabee
was mentioned. I mean, so there's a lot of people, but I would
Randy Fine.
He's on here too. So we could do Clintons were mentioned. So I mean, I would think to me what Kushner, I would say Jonathan Greenblatt, Randy Fine, Miriam Adelson, and Ben Shapiro.
That sounds like a good, well, we have to do it as a poll. Of course, I think it should be a top 10, but in this case, we'll do it as a poll.
Okay, so let's have those be the 4. So the 4 will be Jonathan Greenblatt, okay, Ben Shapiro, Miriam Adelson, and who was the last one that I said? I'm losing my mind. Was it Randy Fine?
Yeah, Randy Fine, Ben Shapiro,
Miriam Adelson, and Jonathan Greenblatt.
Mm-hmm. So, Colin, if you could set up that, and do you have the graphic, Colin? The top 10 anti-Semitism.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. If you could send it.
Okay, I think it's. Let me see. I may have only sent it to you and Rachel. Yeah, okay, that's
and there have been. Look, guys, there's no shortage of them. I mean, Stephen Miller, Kushner. I mean, there's no shortage of them, but we can only have 4 in our poll. So we're gonna have to. You guys are gonna have to like pick of these 4 for our little poll purposes.
Yeah. All right. So I sent you the graphic, and so Colin, if you can set up that poll while we do this segment, at the end we will see who ultimately comes out on top. This is actually the first poll we've ever done on a live stream. We get to see how they get. Boy, you are really sucking up that weed.
It's kind of emptying out, so I'm having technical difficulties. My premier bullpacker is not present.
Sonny, it's about who is most responsible for the rise in anti-Semitism or anti-Jewish hatred, I should say. Like, who would you put on the list? In the
like, who do you think should, when we're talking about people that are the most dangerous to Jewish people, whose existence and what they're putting out only serves to foster more hatred towards Jewish people, generally based on said person's representative of Jewish people. Right. So when people look at someone like Jonathan Greenblatt as representative of Jews, Shmuley, we could do Shmuley.
We should add
Shmuley
all right.
instead
So,
of
Colin, let's, in terms of a person who causes more anti-Semitism or just like,
I think Randy Fine, but I don't know.
I think Randy Fine belongs on the list. I think Miriam Adelson belongs. I hate to say,
Ben Shapiro for sure.
You got to replace Jonathan Greenblatt with Rabbi Shmuley. Shmuley's worse.
Okay.
Greenblatt is terrible, but Shmuley makes you hate Jews. Like that. He's that guy. You know, he's that guy. So, so let's amend it. We're going to start it again. It's going to be Randy Fine, Rabbi Shmuley, Miriam Adelson, and Ben Shapiro. I think that's a tough poll.
I think if he already added it, then he did it already. So then it's done. So whoever's
Colin, can you amend it? Is that something you can do?
Yeah, I'm already doing that.
All right. Thank you, Colin.
Thank you. So as we mentioned, again, the thing that we try to do on our live streams, we've been doing it for a while, is continuity. Well, here's continuity coming home full circle. So Leora Rez, who we mentioned earlier, the rich bitch Zio Jew who has basically made it her mission in life to ruin people's lives like James Lee's, she put this list together of who she perceives to be the top 10 anti-Semites of the year.
See, James wasn't big enough for this list. He was an anti-Semite of the week at some point. I don't know which week. He got, like if he got like a fancy week or a not as important week. But these are the anti-Semites of the year finalists. Okay, we've got Tucker Carlson, Miss Rachel, Guy Christensen, Marsha Cross, Bryce Mitchell. Don't know who that is. Is he some MM fighter or something like that? He looks like it. He's got cauliflower ear. Calla Walsh. I don't know who she is either. Is she a UK person or something?
I believe so. Stu Peters, he's a commentator. Know him. Anna Kasparian, Cenk Uygur, and Cynthia Nixon.
Okay, so let's just say right off the bat that two of these 10 people have been on our show. So there's that. That's kind of cool. Marsha Cross and Cynthia Nixon is really funny to me because, it's like you've got Melrose Place and Sex in the City going on, but I don't know if there are any real contests. I don't know if anybody makes a powerful enough contest for anti-Semitism than Miss Rachel. I can't think of anybody more frightening and offensive to Jewish people in the diaspora and more harmful than a woman who sings about saving children. I can't think of anything more horrifying. So Miss Rachel is honestly, this was so absurd to me. I sent it to Peter. I'm like, it would be like if Mr. Rogers was named like Christian Nationalist of the Year. That's how ridiculous this is.
The thing about this list, and I think about the people on here, and I look at somebody like Bryce Mitchell, and then I look at somebody like even Jake Shields or Dan Bilzerian. Yeah, these are alpha macho type guys that do not like, again, they think of Jews in the context of the stereotypical weakling Jew, and that's not the issue here. I mean, don't get me wrong. A lot of them are, Zio scumbags themselves. It's the people like the Elon Cars, people like Shmuley. Those are the people that are the real problem.
Well, they don't have a single Jewish person on this list, which is interesting because they would refer to me as anti-Semitic. They would refer to Katie as anti-Semitic, to Max, to Aaron, all of us, Jordan. We're all anti-Semites. But notice how they didn't put any Jews on this list.
Correct. And that's probably not by mistake because they understand that the narrative is not working for them. Anna Kasparian, she is just, again, she can be a total bitch on wheels. And when she locks in on something, she is relentless about it. And she does not give one iota about any of that bullshit at all. She knows that standing with the Palestinians is right. And she's basically telling people, bring it on. Come at me, bro. Like, that's what she's doing. Cenk, we all know Cenk loves a good fight. And hopefully Cenk is planning on coming back on the show soon. So
this is patently absurd. Okay. I don't know all these people, but the people that I do know, even ones I don't like, they don't have a problem with Jews. None of the people that I know on here have a problem with Jews. And I have not, always had like the best things to say about Anna Kasparian in the past, but she doesn't have a problem with Jews. That's just stupid.
No.
This is not serious. This is not serious. And the only people that take this seriously are people that are already in that echo chamber. That's why it's entertaining. Nobody is going to wake up and be like, oh, wow, Miss Rachel's an anti-Semite. I didn't know that. Nobody's thinking that.
In the case of Marsha Cross and Cynthia Nixon, especially Marsha Cross is one of the, she is right there with Joaquin Phoenix and, Rooney Mara, basically was very vocal about not just Hind Rajab, but also the movie that came out about Hind Rajab. I mean, Marsha Cross has used her platform.
Cynthia Nixon from the very beginning of this. I mean, but again, this is just silly.
Again, these are people that speak out against the state of Israel. And Jen, if you could also explain to the audience who are still not understanding that when you say anti-Semite, you are talking about predominantly Ashkenazis who are not Semites, and yet they will not stop talking about this. They show their whole ass in terms of how absolutely ignorant and stupid they really are.
Yeah. I mean, and at this point, I think we have just accepted that saying anti-Semitic is meaning anti-Jewish. That's just what it's meant, but it really isn't. So it is kind of silly. And again, not only are these people not, I mean, they're not anti-Jewish and they're not anti-Semitic.
Stu Peters would fall into that category as well. Now, I will say,
I don't know who that is. Like that, those I didn't know.
No, he's a commentator, and so, but the person that I want to point out in terms of commentators, Guy Christensen, is basically a kid, and he has done incredible work. Not only has he been doing incredible investigative journalism like James Lee, but Guy Christensen is one of the biggest supporters out there that you will find for Butch Ware, who's running for governor of California on the Green Party ticket that we are supporting as part of the Revolutionary Change PAC. If you are not familiar with Guy Christensen, you're definitely going to want to check out his work. And he has zero fucks to give.
He's a great kid. He's a kid. He's a kid.
Yep.
Like they're picking on a kid. I mean, and I know that he is, and I know he's an adult, but like to me, he's younger than my boys. So he's a kid. And I think he's doing amazing work. I think he's adorable. I think he is fighting for the right things. He's speaking out. He's getting a very sort of quick indoctrination into like, Revolutionary 101.
Oh, yeah.
Putting himself out there for sure.
I'm sure he's getting more and more radicalized by the day. There is no question about it. But in the end, there are two people on this list that actually have power. That is Miss Rachel and Tucker Carlson. So it is painfully obvious that it is likely going to be one of the two that are going to win this wonderful award that makes no sense.
Oh, please let it be Miss Rachel.
So we'll start with
You
Tucker
can't
Carlson.
make that shit up.
No, we'll start with Tucker Carlson. So Tucker is somebody who has had to make a lot of amends for a lot of the things that he has advocated for and has done over the years. Probably the most obvious is the fact that he once was maybe not the most vocal person in the world like a Sean Hannity or a Mark Levin, but he did advocate for the war in Iraq. He did. And he has apologized profusely for it. He has felt that he has to pay his penance as a result. And for almost the entire time, he has been on the side of Palestine, which you would think somebody like him wouldn't do such a thing. But I do believe that that's one of the main reasons why he lost his position at Fox News.
Absolutely. Absolutely it is. I mean, I don't think that anybody questions that. I mean, the timing is just too obvious.
So when somebody says, I don't trust Tucker Carlson, again, what is there to trust?
I don't either, but I don't think he's an anti-Semite. I think that's silly.
And so therein lies, okay, so JD wants to say Tucker's one of the worst warmongers of all time.
Then have it be warmonger of all time, and then maybe he would be a contender. But anti-Semite is silly.
And I would say 20 years ago, that would definitely be reasonable. I'm not saying that it isn't. But as of this moment right now, here and now, in this moment in time, there is nobody outside of Candace Owens or alongside Candace Owens that is having a greater impact on Christian Zionists in this country than Tucker Carlson. They know he's dangerous. That's why they have to come after him. That's why they had to come after James Lee. When you fly too close to the sun and you're speaking truth in a way that really reveals what's going on here, they are going to do everything in their power to break you in half. They don't have any other option because the truth is overwhelming the population now, which is why they have to resort to these pathetic tactics. And that's why they're not going to be able to shut all of the opinionated rich people down, which is why you heard what Michael Eisenberg had to say, Hillary Clinton had to say, and of course what Elon Carr had to say. And we only showed you 3 clips. I guarantee you, if we dug a little deeper into that Uber Wealth Conference on behalf of Israel that just took place in New York, there's probably a lot more commentary that was done that is very volatile in regards to how they feel about the United States, America First type people that want nothing to do with Israel. And finally, we come to the most important person of all, and that is Miss Rachel. Somebody who goes out of her way now to show her support for Palestine, any chance she gets. And it was initially not like that when this first started. She simply said, I don't think children should be mass murdered. And they decided to make an example of her. So then in turn, she decided to make an example of them. She is basically a woman who is making it her mission in life now, if it kills her, to break the Zio state. And I could not be more proud to support that lady in everything she does.
I love Miss Rachel. I love you, Miss Rachel. I did a very good homage to Miss Rachel. I thought I was a cute Miss Rachel.
You were, indeed. Listen, a lot of people thought you were like a dead ringer for her, like you could have been a doppelganger.
I know. I really wish she saw that. Like, I'd love for her, look, here's the thing. Even if I never met her or she didn't come on our show, I just would love for her to see that, just know that she saw that because I dig her.
Listen, between you and I hope and pray that she wins it.
Oh, I want her to win too.
Give it to her.
It's so absurd.
Please.
It's the most absurd. Although, really, is it any more ridiculous than that crazy bitch winning a Nobel Prize?
Yeah.
Like we're sort of in a world where, the Nobel Prize winner is a warmongering capitalist, and a person who is praying for world peace and saving children is an anti-Semite. Like we are in very strange times. Like these things don't mean anything anymore. Like, do you think for a second Miss Rachel gives a shit if she's called an anti-Semite of the year?
Jay, and I highlight JD, and I highlight you for a reason, brother, because you've been with us from the very beginning. We always remember those that have been with us the whole time. And you know what? JD's right, Jen. You should just figure out a way to post.
You need to do it. I'm not on any of those things. You got to send it to her. You're me on social media.
Rachel, if you can lend a hand with this, I would say that would be helpful. And as Rachel likes to say, Miss Rachel is a precious blueberry.
She is a precious blueberry.
Colin, what are the results of our poll? I cannot wait to see this.
You want me to end it here?
Yeah, I mean, well, what are we going to do? I mean, are we going to wrap, right?
Yeah, so I think that this is a good plug. Well, I want the audience to know for sure exactly where this lands. So yes, if you happen to have the poll ready, we would obviously like to see who at this point is on. Don't end it. The franchise. No, we have to. Our live stream is winding down. We've had
And guys, when you and also if you would so kindly go over to Punch Up Pod. They are going to be live at 9:30 after us, and I end up hanging out there in the chat room.
Yeah, there you go. They can chit chat away.
So go over, yes, guys. So go over when we're done here. Go over to Punch Up Pod.
Colin, what is the results?
All right. So the results with 139 votes. In fourth place, we have Ben Shapiro with 22%. Third place, we have Rabbi Shmuley with 23%.
Wow.
Second place is Randy Fine with 27%. And then first place is Miriam Adelson with 28%.
So it's still pretty like in quarters. It's not, I mean, yeah. So most people went with Miriam Adelson, and I get it because that's at the end of the day, that's where the bucks are coming from, right? Like, I mean, that makes the most sense in terms of who actually has caused the most damage is the person paying for these policies. It makes sense. So, yeah.
That's a good one.
You know what? And, you know, it's interesting. So little Ben was all the way at the end.
Well, you know, he was, but was he really though? Like, it was just the difference of a few votes. That's why they say the vote matters. I mean, think about it. It was it wasn't like a runaway or anything. It could have a few votes here and there could have been the difference. 28, 27, 23, 22%. That's crazy.
Say his name.
Ben Shapiro! I mean, he really knocked himself out.
Oh, it's so funny. It never gets old. I swear it never gets
old. How the hell could it?
It does not get old. It's so freaking funny. So what do we have coming up on Monday? Well, Peter, you have what? Do you know what you're covering on Saturday?
So on Saturday, it looks like I've got a few things that I've already tossed over that I tossed over to Colin. It looks like Josh Hammer, who is Timu Ben Shapiro from so that son of a bitch is basically trying to push the State Department, including the president and the vice president, to condemn Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. They can't spiral fast enough.
They're going to try to like revoke those people's citizenships and stuff. Like, this is going to start to get insane. All right. So you've got that on Saturday.
It's actually been a few weeks, but I'm actually going to do a segment on Fuentes because he put out a very good statement regarding, listen, you can hate me all you want, but at the end of the day, I'm here to fight alongside those that are trying to help get us out from this Israel, clusterfuck. So
Fine can't see his own feet.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry.
So I will talk about that, and I think I'm going to talk about Tommy Robinson again because that fucker is doing a real number right now, and he doesn't stop. But you guys know that I'll come up with some stuff. Maybe I'll have a guest, maybe I won't. I don't know right now.
What do we have coming up Monday? We are going to be speaking with Aaron Baker.
Of Randy Swine.
We have a guest coming on Monday who is challenging Mr. Swine in the primary.
So Aaron Baker, who is running in the congressional primary against Randy Swine. That really is a good name.
It is. It really does. It really just flows off the tongue. It's nice.
So Aaron Baker is a part of the 3-candidate slate of Michael Rechtenwald's AZAPAC. So talk about cross collaboration.
And we are not by any means saying that we agree with this person on policy in general.
No, but we'll find out. We'll find out if there's any synergy or if it's
we don't know.
Hey, listen, as long as he's anti-Israel, it's a start. Marvin Vargas with the $2. Have Ryan Dawson on, JFK Epstein expert, Civil War 9/11. Marvin.
Rachel, please write this down. Sorry, I don't want to forget. Dr. Nidal Jabbour. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, Anthony was texting me while we were live. I haven't had a chance to respond to him
Okay.
yet.
Yeah, I do want to get somebody from Doctors Against Genocide. You know what? Because it's definitely better than the doctors that are for genocide.
Yeah. And, well,
I'm not familiar with that group, but if they exist in Zio Hell.
I don't know how many doctors are for genocide, but here's hoping that there aren't too many.
There aren't.
And also, if you could write down Ryan Dawson, Rach, I really appreciate it. Gezin82 with the $5. Capitalism has turned into Dan Pena, a ranting, vulgar 80-year-old manic screaming about getting rich by selling all empathy out. Yeah, reasonable. And with the $2, Adelson is Sith Lord behind Trump. She gets my vote. Yeah, she is a Sith Lord. She is a Sith Lord. I agree. Yeah, she's Palpatine, all right. Shaitadan with a $1.99. Guy Christensen is more based than he seems. Oh, he's based all right.
Oh, he's based, but he seems based to me. But then again, I'm an old lady compared to him. Like, right, like his whole generation is, it's a whole different animal.
Not me.
He's a kid to me. He's
He is of age to be your son. That is true. Guess at 82 with the $5. Rachel was most effective. That's why she's the most hated. She's the least anti-Semitic. Again, call her whatever you want, but call her a hero for humanity. That much you can say. Jim Talib with the $5 super sticker. I was wondering when you were going to show up, brother. Thank you very much for checking in. Shaitadan with the $1.99 again. I love that Guy Christensen defends Elias Rodriguez. Guy Christensen is based, as we say.
Yeah.
And guess it with the $2. Jen loved your Halloween costume.
Thank you.
What's not to love? We appreciate you all. So if you would be so inclined again, patreon.com/revolutionary change. For as little as $5 a month, you can become a supporter of our small but mighty and growing channel. On last count, before we end for the evening, we want to let you guys know that currently, as of this moment, we are sitting at 92,545 subscribers. We are inching ever so much closer to that plaque. So, with that said, smash that like button, share, subscribe, do all those things that we ask you to do. I will see you Saturday, as always. And of course, Jen.
Free Palestine, guys.
Good night, guys.